Welcome, Internet, to the Play Some Video Games podcast. It is I, your boy, Devin to Dev, filling in for Elaine yet again. Elaine, please, come back home. I can't keep doing this. There's only so much of these two chuckleheads I can take without you. Come back home. Please. Anyways, as always, I'm joined by Mr. Donnie Eat the Hype Reese.
What is up, my dude?
The man down in Florida, Mr. Devin, still DRE Cox. How are y'all doing today?
This is what we need to do. We need to get a droid, right? We need to put a message in it. And the message says, Elaine, you're the only one who can save us. Find Obi-Wan and Elaine.
Your only hope.
And just send it to her. Your only hope. And just send it to her and see what happens. We have the technology. We can make this a thing.
It's true.
Yeah.
Look who's in the chat.
Lightsaber.
Mo Mahoney shows up.
Hey, it's Coach Mo. Yes, I look shorter every day because you're a freaking giant. It's just
no, you're just getting shorter every day. That's how it works,
sir. I mean, you're probably
much like I'm losing hair every day. You're getting shorter every day. now it's just a race to see which happens first. You shrink into existence, or I just lose all my hair.
Yeah, does Devin's hairline begin in the back of his head, or does Devin shrink into nothing? Which will happen first?
My hairline is getting like LeBron's on. Kind of scared.
Ooh.
I need him to just go ahead and cut that. Like, look, all the other greats, when they start going bald, they just go ahead and rock the bald head. Why he playing?
You remember when his he started melting and was rolling down the side of his It's like, come on, Brun. Come on, man. We all know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Just embrace it. You've earned it. Embrace it.
Stop it. Yeah. Just it's okay. Rock the ball.
I mean, it's not, dude. Here's the thing. I don't think Savannah or any other woman gives a shit. You're worth billions of dollars.
Yeah.
Don't they care, man.
Yeah. I mean,
it ain't like the rest of us. It ain't something you got to worry about, Bron.
Yeah. I feel like with the amount of money he got, there's got to just be some implants.
Even if there wasn't. Even if there wasn't.
If you want your hairline that bad,
you just needed to end it at with the amount of money he has. That's all. Like nothing else. There was no other qualification that needed to happen.
Look, as a person who really enjoys having his hair, I get it. But the amount of money he has, it shouldn't look like that.
I get it too, but I mean, Father Time's undefeated, man.
If you want the hair, but look, if Magic Johnson can get rid of AIDS, LeBron can find a way to get a good hairline. All right?
He didn't get rid of AIDS.
Are you sure?
He got rid of HIV.
That's what they tell us. Injection of money right into the bloodstream. Just saying.
I think it's like liquid gold. Like he just comes home every day and gets topped off liquid gold right into an IV.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm quite sure he goes from over there and gets topped off. Then he gets his hair fixed.
See, Elaine, this is why we need you. This is why we need you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, enough of this nonsense. Let's just go ahead and jump right into it because I feel like we got a good amount of talk. We to talk about. We ain't been together like this in 2 weeks. Donnie took a week off and let us do our own thing. So let's right the ship. and
I'm very happy that there were some people out there that apparently liked that show. I'm very proud of you guys.
It seemed like a lot.
Did it seem like a lot? Is that a lot?
It was a hit.
I counted like 8. Okay, so let's.
Did you get 8 that said they didn't like it?
Yeah, I count for 8.
You count for 8.
I count for 8. I wouldn't mind having the cookout as a stand-in because, like I said, I'm going to be taking the monthly Sweet Hangs. So it was fun.
That might be a good name.
Yeah, it was a fun little.
I was just thinking that we might just have to call it the cookout. I feel like that's got to be taken though.
Man, just do it anyway.
I'm looking up some other names.
It's not like they can't be 2 podcasts with the same name.
It's true.
Oh, I've been checking, and there are several podcasts with the same damn name.
Oh, of course.
Like to the T.
You just have to put PSVG on it. It's the PSVG something, and then you're good.
Okay, that works.
There was like 18 strong styles.
There's 19 now. There's another one.
So,
PSVG prevents the cookout.
There you go.
I like it.
Done it.
I
Done.
like it. Don't steal it, whoever's
Right.
listening.
I know,
Oh,
right?
You better hurry.
I know, right? So
Somewhere Sean is planning. Like he's just over there.
Sean don't
All
want that.
Sean do it.
Sean don't
Sean's-
want that.
Let me find 4 black people.
Tough
It'd be
task.
like PSVG presents the Canadian cookout. I don't even know what the hell that is.
Do they call it a cookout? It's got to be a Canadian name for it.
I mean,
Everything up there is extremely literal, right? They have much
Yeah.
music, much more music. So it's got to just be like grillin' brats or something. Just like extremely literal, like an exact description. Cooking food outdoors is probably what they call it. They're like, hey, do you want to come over for a cooking food outdoors with us? Like that's got to be like how Canada does it.
I mean,
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
Can they
I
even
wonder,
do
is
it
that how-
outdoors?
Is that how the black people in Canada?
It's like
that's
50
the question.
degrees below
I know a
zero.
black Canadian.
Dude, it's 50 degrees
is
below
Drake.
zero out there. Like, is it like a Zamboni? Do they do it in the garage? Is a cookout in Canada basically just ice fishing? They're like,
Pretty
hey,
much.
it's a cookout.
That's makes a lot of good sense.
Mm-hmm. It's like in an igloo.
Jesus, damn, an igloo. They're not Eskimos.
Are they?
We don't know that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Have you been to
not.
Canada?
I have not been to Canada, but
See?
I'm
We don't
pretty
know what's
sure
going
most
on up there.
Canadians are not Eskimos. Those are the indigenous people.
Jordan says it's barbecuing.
And
He says it totally sucks.
If it totally sucks, then you probably don't want to do it.
Here's your burger, your hot dog, and your snow cone. Made local.
That sounds awful.
Just right here. They just scoop it up. They just put the beer like on the ground. There's no coolers or anything. They just dump it in the
That
in the
actually
yard.
sounds like a great idea. That's
Yeah.
that's great. Cool.
Yeah, you
Cold
don't need
beer
a-
all the time.
You don't need a cooler. Just throw it out in the yard.
I mean, you would know being from Ohio. That's very Canadian adjacent as far as I'm concerned.
Adjacent?
Adjacent.
Not even close.
No.
Not even,
Close
I don't
enough.
think you know what adjacent means.
It's close enough.
That was a Delvin statement.
Adjacent? No, not adjacent.
No.
Similar, sure. I could get there, but adjacent, absolutely not.
Okay. I'll own my wrongness. I don't care. All right. Just toss the beer in the snow.
That worked.
As you should. All right. Anyways, let's talk about some video games. Donnie, I know that you have been putting in some serious work when it comes to the video games. So
Have I?
What have you been playing? Yes, you have.
You got a long
Okay.
list.
I just been having
Way
a
more than I've
blast.
been
I've been
playing.
having a lot of fun. So I played and have beaten the campaign in Dying Light 2. And talking to Dev, he was like, "Oh, I can't wait to hear what you have to say about it." And then it dawned on me, I honestly hadn't thought much to say about it. Like,
Wow.
it was just because I was just playing it. You know, it was one of those games that I'm just playing. Like, I wasn't really playing it for critique or review. I didn't have that kind of mindset with me when I was playing it. I'm just logging in every day and playing because I just like the game. So I did sit down and I wrote some notes. I have notes. But here's the thing. Usually when I write notes, I usually like sit down before the show and I try to wrap my thoughts up and make them like very organized. I didn't do that today. It's been a long day. I've had a lot to do. So this might just sound like a mess. It might be I just have notes. These are literally just notes that I wrote down. Okay. So I'll just read some. Feel free to stop me if you want to ask a question or if you want to comment as we go along. Dying Light 2 notes, Donnie Reese writes. I wrote it's Far Cry with zombies and some Fallout and Creed. One cool thing that I have experience with this that has me really excited for Friday is I experienced for the first time cloud saves. Because if anybody's been listening, I got this new PC, but when I got it, my GPU was busted. So I actually started playing Dying Light 2 on my laptop. And when the new PC came, I got everything set up, downloaded everything, finally got logged in, clicked the button, and Steam was like, "You've already been playing. Do you want to keep playing?" I was like, "I do want to keep playing." And I clicked it and it was instant and I just was loaded in the game and I just kept playing. And I was like, the Steam Deck is going to be fucking amazing.
That's great. That's awesome.
Oh my
Cool.
God, this is going to be amazing. So here's what I wrote. I said, I really like it. It's a lot of fun to play, especially now that I'm playing on the new PC. Compared to Dying Light 2 is just way more vast and pretty in the visuals department. It's just a much different type of game. Running across rooftops, especially once you've freed up some of the advanced parkour mechanics, is just stunning. As you zip across from like rooftop to industrial building to skyscraper, especially as you get later in the game, it's just really interesting how the color palette of the game changes when you're in the air versus when you're on the ground. When you're on the ground, it's like way more gritty and gray, and like there's a lot of yellows and dirt. You know, it's like that post-apocalyptic. When you're on the top, these rooftops, a lot of them have gardens and really pretty trees and like all this stuff. It's like actually really kind of, you know, it's very visually appealing up there when you run around. And when everything's smooth and you're running and you're jumping, I mean, it's just, there were several times I was just like, man, this is great. I wrote down, it would be great if an Assassin's Creed game was like this. Like when I was running through the city and I'm jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and I was like, imagine if this was Ezio in Italy and I was playing in the same definition with the same mechanics. Like it would just, that experience of being able to like just crawl over this entire city would have felt way more grand. It feels that way in Dying Light 2 without it being like a locale that we recognize and buildings that we recognize, because it's, you know, it's more fictitious.
So first person AC.
Yeah, kind of. And it really just makes me really, and one of the things that I didn't write it down, but one of the things I'm just sitting there thinking is it's amazing at how much you can climb, how much of the geometry is interactive. Not like, there are things that you'll see in the environment that you can definitely climb, like vents that kind of look like ladders and rails, maybe even like bars, you know, that are parallel to each other as you kind of go up. You're like, oh, I can definitely climb that. But it's amazing how many windowsills you can grab onto, edges, ledges, just little things that, and I think most any other game that I can even think of right now, those aren't items that you can physically interact with. They're just textures on a wall, right? And then you see they're either highlighted or you see the very physical protrudence of things that you can interact with. This game is not that. Like you can almost grab like every edge of the game, and it really makes climbing, and I'll get to that in a minute, just a really cool part of it. So the world fills up with lots of diverse colors that range from the standard post-apocalyptic broken gray to the bright yellow and green flora in the daytime on the rooftops that is offset at nighttime by the neon glow. And this game has the thing that like Far Cry and lots of games are doing right now. Like we had it with Far Cry New Dawn. We had it with the last Far Cry, and you have like these neon glows. Right, they want to show you the ray tracing and have the neon, but I like how they bake this into the story, because the UV light is a part of the story. As you're infected, and the UV light keeps your infection at bay. That's how all these people have managed to build these communities on tops of on the I was going to say ceiling, on the rooftops in this entire city. The reason they have these is because they have all these UV lights set up, these like safe havens. So it's cool how they use that not only in storytelling, but also how it affects the visual palette of the game, because it definitely changes overnight.
Yeah.
I wrote traversal is very fun. It's fluid. And then I wrote, and this is basically what I said a minute ago, it's almost limitless. Like just the sheer amount of things that you can do. There was very few times that I can even recall right now having played it. If anybody wants to know, I should have started this. I'm 30 hours into the game. So if anybody's wondering how long it took me to do the game, I think I'm like 32, 33 hours, and I'm not done either. I'm still going to keep playing.
But you finished the main campaign, yeah?
Just the main campaign. But limitless is really a good way of putting it, because like I said, you can interact with almost everything you can see, even stuff that I don't really remember that you can. Like you can jump off every lamppost, you know, like every fence, every light post, like everything. It's all there. I wrote down, it's one of my favorite soundtracks in a game in some time. That's something that I actually haven't been hearing from most anybody about this game. Not that I'm like going off the deep end trying to find. I have read no reviews for this game. I've heard what Jeff said on a stream just when we were hanging out. He wasn't doing a review, he was just playing. So he answered some questions. And then I saw like, headlines and basic reporting like during review embargo. I didn't go into the review, so I don't know. Maybe they've mentioned it. It's not something that I've seen come up a lot. The original music for the soundtrack is really well done. It's very orchestral. It's very nice. It's something that I think I'll be listening to indefinitely. Like I've already added it to my library. It's one of those types of soundtracks for me. Like it sticks with me beyond the game. And then the use of actual licensed music in the game. Like when you go into these different little human hubs, they have like bazaars and bars and stuff, and they're playing music, and they've got like metric and, kind of like some alternative, like folksy or rock music that's playing, and like the different establishments, they all have kind of their own different genre. I thought the sound aspect of the game was something that I definitely latched onto. I wrote the design of the game is pretty standard for open world games. There's not much new to see here. You've done it before. You're gonna have a lot of fetch quests that send you zigzagging across the map back and forth, killing targets, fetching items, talking to NPCs. You capture towers, fast travel points, windmills. You'll restore power to power plants. You'll clear zombie infestations, overrun caravans. You'll have random events that pop up along the way. You'll do your inhibitor stashes and your GRE research facilities to level up, gain experience, and gain crafting materials. The thing that I wrote, we've talked a lot for the past year about these open world map games. These are games that I really enjoy, but one of the kind of the common threads with these sort of games that we've been hearing, I think for the last 2 years, is that a lot of people feel like they're samey, and they're starting to get that kind of that counter reaction. I think we started seeing that with like first person shooters, like around the turn of the last gen. It felt like there was a period there where everybody was making a first person shooter. And then all of a sudden you started hearing like the narrative was like, we don't want any more shooters. We want more stuff. And it seems like the open world has become that. Like everybody now makes open world games.
Everything is open world.
The thing that I wrote down is, while everything that I just read, you will do, and you will do it multiple times. To me, at least through the campaign, I was never felt bored or repetitive. And it's interesting because, one, I just read a bunch of different things. There's a lot of diversity to what you can do. There's just a lot of different activities. You're not doing like 4 activities over and over again. There's like 16 activities that you can do over and over and over. The thing that I found interesting about how they really structured the campaign is the campaign has, you'll do 1 or 2 of these throughout the campaign. They'll make you do it. And you'll do like you'll restore a power plant like a couple times. The rest of it, though, almost feels optional. Everything's completely wide open. Outside, like there's a few story missions, but like you can really just do whatever you want. Do you want to go grind and level up? You can do that. Do you want to go fight zombies? You can do that. Like, do you want to go find the GRE medical facilities and get all of the, extra crafting stuff so you can upgrade your paraglider? You can do that. Like, almost from the very start of the game. And it really feels optional, because they also don't tell you exactly. I don't think the game does a very good job of really explaining to you what needs to be done to like progress. There's a lot of systems in place. And that's a little weird. You've got a experience system, you've got a currency system, you've got stuff that you can buy, but that needs special parts. So it's like a currency plus crafting element. And you also have your level up, you level up your stamina, you level up your immunity, you level up your combat. Like there's just a lot to juggle. And they're all kind of doing a bunch of different stuff.
When I hear you say that, it's like, I feel like that's the type of open world game that you really enjoy. The ones that don't tell you exactly what to do and just kind of let you kind of go.
Yeah.
And figure it out.
Kind of go make your own game, make your own fun. Like, yeah, you do kind of figure it out. And like my first couple of days, as I said last week on the show, my first couple of days, those are the same thing with Breath of the Wild. Those are the times when I'm really like, what is it that I want to be doing? Like, let's, like I'm learning the game. Like, let's learn everything that's here. And then let's see where I want to go with it. And this game does that. And then some. So I really liked it.
Yeah. I'd probably hate that. I don't like, I've come to realize like,
I feel like Far Cry was the same way. Actually, Far Cry 6 is very similar.
To me, Far Cry 6 felt very pointed. Like, here's my mission. Go do this. Like,
you can do that. But if you want to upgrade your stuff or get better weapons or open the map or get fast travel points,
I didn't have to do any of that. Like,
I think Devin and I both said when we were playing the game, like we didn't even play the story for extended periods of time, 10, 15 hours at a time.
I didn't do
Yeah, I
that at
think
all. Like, I
I'm
played
10
it
hours,
very
like 15
differently.
hours in, and barely got into the story.
Yeah.
I know in Far Cry 6, I played like 20 hours and was like, oh, I ain't doing another story. It's like, oh, maybe I should start doing that stuff. I was just clearing the map out. And this kind of has the same feel to it, where you can just clear out things in the map and you don't really have to get to the story until you're ready to get to the story, because there's so much stuff to do. And it's all pretty much fun. It's all enjoyable.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're not entertained by the stuff.
As long as I have like a really good like baseline of where I'm supposed to go, with these are like the story missions, and I can have a lot of those to pick from, I'm good. But if it's more Breath of the Wild, where it's just like,
and Dying Light does that. If you just want to golden path it, they have a very laid out in front of you. Go here, do that, go here and do that, and you can just keep progressing. But the fun part is on the way, 1,000 things pop up between there and there.
See, I don't know.
You're gonna run into a few people, and they're gonna give you missions and things like that, and you're gonna find cool things you want to do, and a lot of interesting things happen when just traversing the area.
The inhibitor stashes, which is like your main way of like leveling up your skills. They have that Breath of the Wild thing where they'll start to beep when you're nearby. You'll get kind of like this proximity locator where it'll just start to beep. You'll just start hearing beeps, and it'll get louder as you get closer to it. So you'll be running to your mission, and all of a sudden that goes off, and you'll start swinging off your path to like, well, I got to pick this up. I'm already over here. And then those are fun because they're puzzles in their own self.
Yeah, I like that kind of stuff when it's side missions pulling me in, but if it's just a bunch of random stuff in the world, like, to me, I don't know. I think it's just like the Breath of the Wild, like it just didn't do that for me. So when I hear things being that open, I'm just like, I don't know. Makes me want to pull back. But like with Far Cry, like it always just felt like I was doing a bunch of side missions, which is great. But just like randomly running off in the world,
I think this is way closer to Far Cry than Breath of the Wild. It's not that open.
Yes.
It's just like it's
that I can get with.
Open isn't. It's just more like I said, it's optional. Like not just optional, like whether or not you can choose to do it or not. It's honestly like you can just choose to do whatever you want. Like you could just. There's just a lot that you can do, and they basically just open the map and they let you do it. Like there's not a whole lot of hindrance to doing almost from the start of the game. There's not going to be much steering you one way or stopping you from going anywhere. You can kind of just do it. About halfway through here. So I wrote down the paraglider, which is interesting because when I first got this thing, I was like, this sucks. It is not like a paraglider that you've ever experienced in a game before. It's different, and it takes a minute to get used to. Having played the game for 30 hours, I got to tell you, I got used to it pretty quick. And once you get it, it really opens up the game because you can basically fly. Once you get the paraglider and level it up, you can basically fly whenever you want. You just climb to the tallest building, jump off of it, and you just fly all around the map. So the interesting thing about their paraglider is that it's not just like a glider. You'll open it and just sail. It like rocks. Think of like like those like baby rocking things, like those automatic baby cradles that you put like babies in, they swing back and forth. It swings like that. So you'll swing forward and then you'll swing back while you're falling. So you kind of have to manage the camera as it's dipping like up and down, which is realistic. Like if you were in a parachute, that's pretty realistic. That's how it's going to work.
You never know.
But then when you get the upgrade, like magically you can like boost yourself. You can give yourself like a boost of energy, which if you time on the swing up will boost your elevation. It'll send you further up in the air, which means you can fly further. But if you boost it while you're facing down, it's going to shoot you straight into the ground. So it takes some getting used to. But once I kind of got the timing down, like I said, it really stopped me from chasing fast travel points because I was like, who needs it? Just fly everywhere. So I thought that was, I don't know if I like that being there or not. Because the traversal and having to manage the traversal is a big part of the game. So just kind of being able to fly over everything made me feel at times that I was missing stuff that was below me. And I didn't always just fly. I really only flew when I had to cover long amounts of distance. Otherwise, I just ran. I just wanted to be on the ground where the action was, where the fun was. Because I think you're missing out if you just start flying the whole time. But some people may want to do that. I wrote there's a ton of game here. Once I got past maybe the halfway point in the game or the campaign, I still have tons of unlocks to do. even for their launch issues, I wrote this down because they've had launch issues that have been widely reported. For me, I still think the game felt very polished compared to Dying Light 1. Maybe that's because I'm playing on PC with the 3080. Like I said, I didn't play it on console, so I can't speak to it. But Dying Light 1 was kind of a mess for like 2 years. It was kind of a mess. It was a mess for a while.
Yeah.
This isn't that. This is a very playable game. I didn't really encounter a lot of issues like after the day one patch. I didn't really have any issues at all.
That's great.
I wrote several scenes, either the ones at night or scripted scenes in the campaign. Specifically, there are 3 scripted chase scenes in the campaign I thought were thrilling. They're great. One of them is just really good, like edge of your seat. Am I going to make it or not? Like they just do a really good job again with the music, with the environment of like really making you feel like you're being chased.
So do they do that thing that Spider-Man does when you start moving fast and the music ramps up?
No.
Yes.
No, I don't think
so. Horizon does that.
They do it in the campaign. Yeah. No, in the like these chase scenes, absolutely. It'll all start to build to a crescendo and you're like, ah, yes, but not just during the game. Yeah, but I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that because I'm going to come back to that actually. There, and I don't want to spoil anything, but there's an event that happens about 3/4 of the way through the campaign that permanently alters a major portion of the map that I thought was awesome. And I was like, I wish more games did stuff like this. This is really cool. Because it's like this area that you've been to the whole time, and then it just completely changes. And there's a story reason for it being there, and it's very like grand and epic and big. It's not like a little thing, it's a big thing. So I thought that was really, really cool. Story overall, I thought the motivations of some of the characters and the plot overall is just kind of middling. It wasn't bad, it wasn't great. I've heard a lot of things said terribly about this story. Most of the folks that I think I've heard say bad things about the game, I think have almost exclusively been the story. I think Dying Light 2 story is way better than Dying Light 1 story, and I don't think either one of them are as good as like Far Cry 5 or 6's story. I don't like Aiden nearly as much as I like Danny as a character. He's just not really fun to root for or really be behind. And it's not because he's just kind of whiny. It's not because of the story, like the writing. It's just he's kind of whiny. It's just not, it's like a really whiny version of Troy Baker. There are several moments in the campaign where characters do things you're just like, what? Like, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. There's a couple of those, but overall, it was a story. Like it's, like I didn't hate it at any point. I wasn't like, oh my God. And like I said, I got about halfway through it and I wanted to finish it. Like I wanted to see where this was going. I think my biggest issue with the story, and this probably won't come to much surprise to anybody, is that I don't like how much the zombie apocalypse seems to just fade into the background of this game. It's just all about like this humans and these things that are happening and this thing in the past. And it's like, guys, there's a zombie pandemic happening all around you. And it just didn't really seem to be on the minds of anybody. It didn't feel as like horror themed as the first one. It doesn't feel like a zombie, experience so much. It's just kind of the zombies are there. It's more of like a Walking Dead type thing,
backdrop type.
Yeah, it just kind of fades in the background. I don't like that as much, but I get it. I mean, I think that's kind of all zombie things kind of go there. It's never been my thing. I love Dying Light 1 because, dude, I love Dawn of the Dead. It's one of my favorite movies, and I've always just wanted that video game. And Dying Light 1 felt like that video game. This one doesn't feel as much like that video game. I liked Lawan's character. A lot of shit's been thrown Rosario Dawson's way, and I thought her character is one of my favorites in the game. So I enjoyed that for whatever it might be worth to anybody out there. And then a lot of people really, I'll say Jace's name, but Jace isn't the only person. I think most people say that the voice acting in this game is horrendous. I don't think it's good. I want to be clear. But I was, the hard part that I had is I'm always having a hard time drawing the line between what do people consider horrendous and bad versus like mediocre, because I've played a lot of open world games that have side characters and stuff with similar voice acting to that I've seen in Dying Light. Like this isn't, it just didn't shock me as worse than some side characters that I've seen in Assassin's Creed and Far Cry and Fallout and Skyrim. It's like I've seen all these people before.
It feels generic. It doesn't feel
yeah,
like
it does. It really does.
Yeah.
So it didn't bother me, but I also wasn't playing that. My biggest issue with the story was there was a mission that I really didn't like. It made me walk basically all the way across the map. Then I got there, passed out, and then woke up back where I was, and that was the mission. And I thought that
Skyrim shit.
that was stupid as hell. I was like, what was the point of that? And I was like, this was dumb. So I didn't like that part of it. And then I did write down the biggest issue that I've heard from, just the people that I follow on Twitter and stuff, especially the reviewers. And I think rightfully so. Techland made a big deal about the decisions in this game and its marketing and kind of like their pre-show. Like when they've done previews, they were like, hey, you're gonna have these big decisions. They're gonna change the way the game, like the world is. And that's not wrong. You'll have these missions where basically you'll have a decision to make. You'll have these big decisions. They'll be like, hey, and it's basically centers like, do you want to support this faction or that faction? And if you choose one, you'll get some sort of buff. Like either faction will give you something that will be permanently in the world, and you can like either keep going in that direction or not. But it's not the narrative, world-altering influence that I think people were maybe led to believe.
Yeah, I totally thought it was like like some
people are thinking it's like Fable
type stuff.
Yeah, they're like, oh my god, it's like infamous.
Really affect the world.
It's not like that at all. There are multiple different endings, and you can have drastically different outcomes because you can kill people like by making some of these choices. Some characters die off, some characters won't be there to save other characters. So like the cast, you'll have some decisions to make along the cast along the way, but maybe like 8 or 9, 10 decisions just with the cast. That's different from these like faction missions that you'll do. And those decisions I thought were done pretty well. There were several times I paused the game. I was like, what am I doing here? Right. Because your immediate reaction is to don't choose what they're pushing you to choose. But then, if you've ever like Techland, like they're going to make what you think happen, not what you think also. So you always got to balance that. So I like those. I thought those were pretty good. Let's see here. I said that I've already said this, but I'll say it again. There's a ton to balance: infection, gear progression, classes, buffs. The gear, I didn't really get it. I never really do. I just kind of pick the higher numbers. Like, it's not my thing.
Isn't your thing.
But there is a massive amount of gear, and they all got pluses and negatives. And if you get this and that and classes, I was like, just give me the cool looking stuff, and I'll just beat the hell out of somebody with a stick until they die. Experiencing
Donnie.
Right. Yeah. It can feel like a grind early on. I think the progression is probably my biggest fault with the game. It takes a lot of playing, a lot of missions, a lot of inhibitor stashes, just a lot of experience before you can like drop kick, before you can slide. Like there's just a lot hidden behind it. I think there will be people that aren't into Dying Light or don't know that they're into Dying Light. I think there would be probably a lot of people that pick it up, play it for 2 or 3 hours and stop because they're thinking what they're seeing on the commercial, and that's there, but it's 10 hours in there. Like you really got to go for it. But once you do, before I end with my final thoughts, I want to reiterate, if you've listened to me, there was a reason I played it for 30 plus hours and still consider playing it. The game is just super fun to play. Like the moment to moment gameplay, the freedom of climbing and taking your own path and your direction and your combat. Like it's just very fluid. Especially for me, I was playing at 4K 60. It's extremely fluid. It's very stable. It's very smooth. And it's just so much fun. You make these gigantic leaps of faith in this game. And the combat, like all the different stuff you could do. I ran off of a wall, drop kicked somebody, threw a grenade, pull an arrow, shoot somebody with an arrow, then pull out an electrified bat and start going to work. It's just, you can't do that stuff in so many games, like it really just feels like you're in complete control of what you want to do. You're not limited to like 2 or 3 animations. Like you can do everything. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can really customize, like even down to traversal. Like you can unlock the ability to like jump through windows as opposed to like stopping and climbing through it. Like everybody knows that
Oh, that's
game where you
nice.
got to
It's like
stop.
parkour, just
Yeah, you just go right through it and keep
Yeah.
going. You roll and keep and run, and it's just like just having that freedom to just be able to keep your momentum is just
Yeah.
unlike anything you've ever played. I mean, honestly, I think in that regard, Dying Light stands alone. There's no real other game that really truly feels like that, like on the ground, like letting you run and like letting you just take it. Um, I got one last thing I want to say before my final thoughts. The towers and the GRE military airdrops were like major things for me. I got so hooked in doing those. Those are the things I did most. They have towers. If you've ever played Far Cry, Breath of the Wild, like you're not opposed, you've seen towers before. Assassin's Creed, the towers. These aren't those towers. These are far harder to scale. They require you to have many upgrades, many power ups, a lot of stamina, but they are thrilling. And when I said earlier, leaps of faith, there are some of these towers that you just got to risk it, man. Like you just got to
risk it
run.
all.
You got to run, jump off, hope you get that hook shot so you can make that edge. Because if you don't, you're going all the way to the bottom. You're probably not surviving. You're going to lose 15 minutes of game time. You start all over and do it again.
You can't like pull your paracord out and just glide to the bottom and start
You
over
can,
again?
like if you fall off the side of a skyscraper, and there is one of the main missions in the game, like maybe right smack dab in the middle, is you scale this skyscraper that is the tallest skyscraper in the world. I mean, it is up there, and it took me, and I don't want to exaggerate, maybe 20, 30, 40 minutes to climb this thing. And it's not just climbing, like
Damn.
I'm going level by level, like killing the zombies and everything, going outside. And here's the thing about these towers that are really cool is they have these environmental puzzles. It's not just like, here's a tower, climb it. You may not be able to reach the first part. You might have to jump to the other building next to you, work your way up 2 or 3 floors, jump out the window to reach the first ledge, to then start working your way up the tower. There's a lot of that. But there's a lot of times you'll be looking at something, you'll be like, how the hell do I get up there? Like this one military airdrop, they have these like caches that fall from the sky. They've got parachutes. So if you get up to the top of a roof and you look out with your binoculars, you'll see them scattered along rooftops. Well, they have special stuff in them that you need to upgrade stuff, like your paraglider and your grapple shot and all that. There's this one that I saw first off in the game. I spent 2 hours trying to get it. Could not. I was dying. I was like, I don't see how you get up there. Once I leveled up and everything came back, what I realized was on the back side of the building, there was a ledge. Like I wasn't even paying attention. So you go around the back side, you use that, and you basically like scale this building in circles across the windows and in and out of floors and stuff to get to the top. And I hope I'm making the point well, because I haven't really thought about this a whole lot, really, to sit down and break it down. It's just there's a level of design, like I want to say, like there's a level of it makes you feel smart, like to kind of figure some of the stuff out. You're like,
it gives you that sense of accomplishment when you
it doesn't feel basic at all.
Yeah.
Like there's several of these where I'm like, look at the shit they're doing. You know, there was a couple that I was stumped on. I YouTubed it, and then I figured I was like, holy shit. You know, like, and it's not like Uncharted, like really hard puzzles. You know, like I always think of the one in Lost Legacy where you're doing the shadows and the slide. I hated that damn thing.
Man, that motherfucker made me.
Yeah, I hated that. It's not like that. It's not like that. It just feels clever because they're not doing the stuff that I feel like I'm conditioned to look for. There isn't like, there's the yellow ledge and then I jump to the thing and then I get the ladder. It's not that. It's different than that. There was one that I had to fight a couple guys. I had to use, I had to jump from like an electrical box up to the first ledge. Then I had to hook shot over to the second ledge. Then there was like these windmills. Then I had to jump on this windmill as it's turning, have it carry me up, and then jump off to hook shot to another ledge on the other side. Like this is the type of kind of platforming in a 3D space that I don't feel like a lot of games do.
I gotta wonder if there's more than one way to do these type of things. Like you just
I'm sure there
find
are.
your way. Like that's even more like giving the player more agency to really kind of just come alive in the world to figure out how to get from point A to point B without, of course, like the yellow ledge that you want to grab. Like I'm so over like always like exactly where to go. Like make it a little less obvious. Like give me a little bit of player agency so I can feel like I'm actually doing something instead of just looking for the yellow ledge to grab.
I'm glad I did them I'm glad I did as many as I did before I got the paraglider, because I think the paraglider could be a cheat for a lot of them. You just fly up there.
Yeah, exactly.
But there are some, especially the ones that are tied to the campaign, where you don't have that option.
That's good.
So I like that too. So
That was
ultimately,
my
my
next
final
question.
thoughts I wrote down here in my last little paragraph. With some time to think about it, the game kind of reminds me of something like Insomniac Spider-Man or Infamous. I think Spider-Man's story was much better than this one, but largely both games depend largely on how much fun it is to traverse the world and using its mechanics and combating enemies, of which I think Dying Light 2 is significantly deeper than those. I think both of those games kind of live off of that. It's like, especially Infamous. You think about Infamous Second Son, the story wasn't a big part of that game. The world honestly wasn't a big part of that game, because compared to Dying Light 2, that's a much basic thing. But what made that game super fun? Having the freedom to do whatever you wanting, being empowered to go out and do those things the way you wanted to, explore these cities and traverse and fight enemies like Insomniac Spider-Man. I think if you don't think so much about the story, I think those games are very comparable. So I don't think it's amazing. But I've absolutely loved it. I'm glad I got the collector's edition. It's been a blast. I'm sure they're going to update it for years to come. And
I was going to say, you got years of extras.
I'm going to play it. Yeah. And like, I didn't do so many. There were so many windmills I didn't get done. There's so many facilities I didn't unlock. There's so many metro stations I didn't unlock. Now I'm going to do all that. Like, I'm not done with this game by any means. I'm going to do all that. So hopefully I didn't take too long.
For more.
Hopefully I look up. It's like 40 minutes. Jesus.
Yeah, I was like, we've been 40 minutes.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
God, I hope people are still with us. I didn't realize it was going on that long, guys.
I was enthralled because it almost makes me want to play it. I'm gonna wait because I don't have the time, but it's one that has definitely been on my short list to pick up because it does look intriguing. There's just too many goddamn games. Too many games.
Interesting. And it's fun. It's fun. Like I said, I played it on the PS5 and I was having a blast with it. Only reason why I stopped was because of Horizon, because I wanted to finish that one first. It feels like it's going to be a shorter game. But otherwise than that, it's super fun. And that's even with some of the jank that I've experienced in the game, with like people being stuck in walls and things like that. Overall, it's still a blast to play. Like the whole parkour stuff is just amazing. Like you can wall run it. I guess I think I've said on PSXP, it reminds me a little bit of Mirror's Edge. But if they crafted Mirror's Edge better, because Mirror's Edge world always felt kind of bland. I think that's kind of the charm to it.
And it's linear.
Yes.
Mirror's Edge was like a bunch of levels connected together. This isn't that. This is an entire world. You can just go out and make your oyster.
It feels cool to just go on these rooftops and jump from rooftops to rooftops and make that jump that you may not hit. And you're looking at your stamina and stuff like that. It's kind of exciting. I love it. It's great. And I think Donnie kind of nailed all the points on it. It's a great game.
Jesus, the chat's taking me to task here.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It's Mike and Chaffee.
Well, it rings true. I talk too much. Chaffee has been validated.
I'm here for it because, like I said, I like getting your input, and I think a lot of people like to get your input on a game that you really like because you break it down very thoroughly. So you played a couple of other things. You can be quick about those.
Yeah, I'll be quick.
I'm curious about this Wii Sports thing.
Oh, I played the Wii Sports 4 test. Switch Sports. They had a beta test. I got in. I had a blast. I had so much fun. I didn't get tennis. I tried for 2 days and I never got tennis. Apparently people could play tennis. It just never popped for me. But I got to play sword fighting. I forget what they call it. Chahumbra or whatever. I played sword fighting.
Chahumbra?
It's got some weird name like that. And sword fighting was fun. You could, it's Wii Sports. You could fight 1-on-1, or you could have 2 if you wanted. Or you could have like a bigger pole, which was fun. And then, but the fun thing that I'll just say quickly about Wii Sports was I got to play bowling a lot, and bowling was a fucking blast. They have battle royale bowling. That's what they've turned Wii bowling into. Yeah,
that sounds fun.
They put
20.
Bowling.
They put 20 people in the bowling alley. Like, you all pop up. I don't know if it's 20. It's just a lot. Like, they put rows of people up in front of you, and you have 15 seconds to bowl. It's like, bowl. And everybody bowls. And then if you didn't get a strike, everybody bowls again to try and clean it up. And then like the top 10 advance. And then the top 6 advance. And then the top 4 advance. And then, it just keeps whittling them off round after round after round. I was like oh my God, I'm going to love this game. I already pre-ordered it, but when I was like, they
this
have Battle
solidified your
Royale.
pre-order.
Yeah, I was like, oh, if they do this with golf.
Hey, Sean, get me a card too. Thanks.
Oh man, it's going to be great. Did Sean get a card?
No, he said that I guess Best Buy is having RTX cards tomorrow.
Ooh.
But I guess that's just Best Buy Canada. I'll try and see what we got out here because
You have to check the snow.
Bad. 3070 or 3080. Only the Founders Edition because I can't pay them other prices. It's ridiculous.
I've been playing Mario Bros. U on the OLED just to kind of mix it up. I was kind of feeling I wanted to play something simple after putting in so many hours of Dying Light, and I'm also playing Cyberpunk after putting so many hours. Then I just want to juggle around, play something simple. So I started playing Mario 3. I started playing Kirby, and I was like, I feel like I haven't had a 2D Mario game in a bit. So I went back and played the last one. I started playing Mario Bros. U again, which gets quite the glow up on the OLED. It's a really nice game. If you've got the OLED and you haven't looked at it, or you never played it, or you played it on Wii U, it might be worth another look because it gets real colorful. And then Dev, I start playing Cyberpunk.
Cyberpunk, baby.
Cyberpunk got its 1.5 patch. I've got the RTX.
You're calling it 1.5. It's just 1.5.
Whatever. I got the RTX card. I was like, finally, I'm gonna try this. Dev is a mess. I couldn't get the Epic Games Store. I bought it on the Epic Games Store 2 years ago, whenever it came out, and I could never get it to play then. So I bought it there. I couldn't get it to launch. It kept crashing. Cyberpunk is flatline. So then folks in the Discord are like, just quit doing the Epic, because I thought it might have been the Epic Games, because every time I launched the game, it would launch Red Launcher, which is like CD Projekt Red's their own launcher. It's got Witcher and Gwent, and I was like, this is stupid. So they're like, buy it somewhere else. So I got a GOG key from CD Keys for $17. And I tried to play it there, and I got in at first, and then it crashed. And I was like, oh God, this isn't helping either. And I'm trying to figure out what it is. And I'm like, I hate this game. This game is pissing me off. I'm never going to get to play it. That's not it at all. Dude, I found the issue. I was combing through Reddit, trying to find, Flatline, and this person just on this weird thread. It wasn't even a long thread. He was like, disable Nahimic, the Nahimic service.
What the hell is Nahimic?
It's MSI's audio driver.
Sounds
like MSI has an audio driver service. He was like, disable it. It stops the game services from running. And I was like, let's try it. I disabled it. It works flawlessly across every launcher ever since.
The full PC experience.
The full PC experience. So anyway, finally got it fixed, got it working, got in, started with the settings, obviously, mix and match all the things. I'm playing in 4K, 60 frames a second. It's pretty stable. Dips down to maybe 55 at times. At ray tracing set mostly to low, with DLSS set to perform balanced. And I love this game. I'm 15 hours into the story, and the story is amazing, and I cannot wait to see it ends. This is not even. I'm surprised because I've always said this. I was always into it because of the visuals, right? The graphics, the glitchiness, the neon. I'm like, yes, give it to me.
Yeah.
But this is not my type of game. I never thought it was, and I still don't. It's like a BioShock game. There's lots of long dialogue scenes. You're going to characters, you're sitting down, you're going through decision trees. It's not as action oriented. It's not action oriented as most open world games are. And it's really, honestly, it's not even like, and I know what's open world, but it doesn't really feel like an open world game because a lot of it scripts you out of it. You're not just like set loose to go do whatever. They have like some random missions and stuff that are out there. But so far, the game's doing a pretty good job of kind of just being like, hey, just go over there and talk to this person. You can do this if you want. You can keep killing these random people, but go over there and continue on with the game. But the story, I'm hooked. The story has got me. I'm enthralled. Nice. I don't even know what to say.
Who did you start as? Did you start as a what is it called? Corporal?
I'm a nomad. Started as a nomad.
Nomad's good.
And V is just great, man. And Keanu is great. It's got to be maybe I want to say maybe my favorite like celebrity cameo in a game. I had no idea how involved he was, but it's been absolutely fantastic. And I'm just like this whole. I don't even want to. I mean, are we okay to spoil things? Like, I feel like the game just launched.
No.
But it's been out for like what 18 months.
But there's a lot of people who haven't played it because they were waiting.
I know.
I have not played it.
I'm into the
started
story. I'm into the
And
story.
that's why I want to play. I want to see the story. Like
I'm
I'm
into
way
the
more
story.
into that.
That's why I'm into it. Here's what I'm not into. All the gear and all the I'm like, God, this stuff. There's so I mean, it's such a big RPG. There's so many things. I'm like, I hate this. I just want to
That's
look
the
cool.
one thing. Like when I've even started, I'm like, I really don't feel like managing gear in this game.
Yeah,
like, I
there's
don't want to
so
do
many
that.
weapons. There's so
get
much
upgrades and shoot and destroy things and find the story. But I don't feel like having to manage clothes and gear. Like I just don't want to. There's so many games already that I have to do. I'm like, I don't want to do all of that.
But I'm doing it because I'm doing it because of the story. I can't believe it. I'm like, there was parts of me, and I'm not willing to say it yet because I think I'm almost done with Act 2. So I think I don't know where that is, but I think I'm halfway. And like, there's parts of me that's like, is this gonna be the damn game of the year? Like, I am loving this.
It's really good.
Like, I am
really, really good.
Really into it.
which
is hilarious because of this game's history. I don't think people want to hear
that. I feel like
that.
Delvin and Josh both have been telling us that like the game is really good. Like there's a good game in there.
I remember on review, Jeff was like, I love it. And everybody was, how is this possible? It's completely broken. He's like, yeah, that's not
a lot
the
of
game
people
I
who
played.
played it on PC were like, this game is awesome. Yeah.
It is awesome. It is so good. Like, I feel like I'm finally playing CD Projekt Red's like vision for the game. And now that I'm like, now with this patch and with the new PC dev, through the world building, like it's so much busier. There's people everywhere. There's lights everywhere. Like it's just so much fun. It's like the world has like a culture, like the ads and the pops and the commercials that are playing and the people and the conversations they're having. Like I fell down the rabbit hole hard, like hard on Cyberpunk. I was like, do they make a statue for this? I need a statue for this game.
I feel like there's a bunch of them. I feel like
I gotta find one. I gotta do something.
I have a Johnny Silverhand one, I think, in my house.
I gotta find one.
I gotta go look it up.
It's great.
But they have a lot of cool stuff for it.
It's great. I'm having a blast.
Nice. All right, Devin, what have you been playing?
I've just been playing mainly Horizon, which is fantastic. I'm enjoying my time with that. I'm probably like 10, 15 hours into that already. It's so good. It's so beautiful, man. I'm enjoying everything about the game. I can't talk too much about it because there's so much story stuff into it.
Well, you guys did talk about it in PSXP. If our listeners haven't got a chance to listen, I listened to it.
Yeah.
I enjoyed listening to you guys talk about it.
Definitely check that episode out to get more insight onto how we feel about the game. But to go off of that, something interesting happened this week to me. That's video game related. So, Monday was President's Day. I told a little bit of this. I told this story on Cadillacs on Mars, but that hasn't come out yet, so I'll tell it here. Monday was President's Day, so I had to go run some errands and stuff like that because I was off work. So I went to this pawn shop. It was like this little rinky-dink pawn shop that was in Little Havana, which is like a Cuban neighborhood in Miami. I walked inside there. They had a wall full of old gaming consoles.
Nice.
So I'm like, I want a PS3.
Yeah.
I want to play 50 Cent Blood in the Sand. I want to play Chronicles of Riddick and stuff like that. And I don't want to pay a whole bunch of money for it. I want to play all the old PS3 games that you just can't play anymore.
Hey, man.
So I asked.
You've got Spartacus. It's coming. Just wait.
And none of those games will still be on there. So I'll still be screwed. So I said to myself in my head, if this PS3 is under $100, I'm going to buy it immediately. I asked the guy, because he had a bunch of them there, like the slim ones, all the PS3s there, stuff like that. Say, how much is the PS3? Oh, it's $65.
Yeah.
Oh, let me get that. So I immediately got it.
Which one did you
get? The slim one that doesn't look like a Foreman grill.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's the one I have.
The original Slim.
The original Slim. That's top shelf PS3. That's
Yes.
I got that.
It's
one.
in pristine condition. Looks great.
Yep.
So
the mat.
Yeah.
Awesome. You need the mat. Yep.
I also saw there a Game Boy Color.
Ooh.
I said, how much is the Game Boy Color? He says $45, but since you're getting the PS3 and since nobody buys any of this stuff from us, I give it to you both for $100. That's literally what he said, because apparently where it was at, nobody buys any of the video game stuff. So
taking up space, man.
So he just has a bunch of video game stuff there just sitting there.
Which Game Boy Color, though?
It was the blue one. I think it's purple one.
Okay.
The screen's a little
indigo?
scratched up.
Purple? Like atomic purple?
I'll take a picture of it. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
the screen scratched up on it, but I looked up that you could just change the screen. Like
Yeah,
the
you
screen
can swap
apparently
them out.
pops off easily, and you can put a new screen on it. So I ordered a screen for it. I get the PS3 home. It works perfectly with only one problem, well, two problems really. It came, the first problem, which is a major problem, it came with a 6-axis.
Yeah.
So like, ugh.
I still have one of those. The PS3 controllers, if you want a nice one, are hard to come by. Like, I'm really particular about my controllers. I don't buy used controllers, like, ever. So when I got my PS3, I bought a brand new PS3 controller, like in
How the
2021.
hell did you find a brand new one?
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm going to get to that because I ended up ordering one off of eBay.
Yeah.
Because the 6-axis, apparently the battery on is dead, so I can only play it if it's plugged in.
Plugged in.
So like, I'll just order a new controller.
Yep.
So I ordered a new controller. I ordered I have a old hard drive because I forgot it only has like 120 gigs on the hard drive.
180.
Yeah, something like
I
that.
think those were 120s.
It's something like that. So I said, let me just order. I have an extra hard drive here from the PS4, so I'll just use that. And I went into the system, man, and it's so much stuff in it I forgot that you could do. Like I seen like when I got to my download list, all the movies and stuff that I had bought that I couldn't like download to the system. Then you have all the PS Vita games. I'm like, I can hook my Vita up to this and fill it up with games again. Then you have all of the games that just aren't on PS on any other system that you can only play, like Binary Domain and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, this is great. So I'm just downloading stuff and having a blast. I downloaded Arkham Origins to it, and oh man, the download system that's in the PS3 is a mess. It is horrible.
It's awful.
It is so bad.
I forgot when I started setting mine up. I forgot not only does it take forever to download them, but then you have to install them. And that takes like just as long as it does to download. It's like, oh god,
This is why I don't get rid of systems.
I was like, we are so PS3 spoiled
with a ton of games.
This stuff.
Both of my PS3s have 500 gig hard drives full of stuff.
That's what I'm gonna do this week with mine, because I'm like, man, I gotta just get all this stuff on there. And I was just looking at all the games, and I said, let me see if I can still buy games. The store's still wide open.
Yeah.
I have a whole bunch of credit. I was gonna buy some games. They were like, oh, you gotta do all these hoops. You gotta verify your credit card. Like, I'm not doing this right now.
Well, I thought I had to buy. I thought I had to buy points.
Yeah, you have to buy cards.
You have to buy. You can only use cards. But because I have 2-factor authentication on my systems, you have to verify your credit card that you have on file.
Which reminds me,
the card.
I turned 2-factor on because I sold my PS5 for a bunch of money, and I had to turn that on to make sure, just in case. You know, you can never be too sure. Yeah.
Smart man. But yeah, I'm so happy. I'm ecstatic. I'm looking up Game Boy cartridges to buy now for this Game Boy. And
as he should, Mike. As he should.
I'm having a blast, man. I bought so much shit just for this system. I bought the Wheelman for PS3. I bought Chronicles of Riddick. I'm just going down the rabbit hole, man. I'm all in on this PS3 again. We live in my childhood.
Gotta get that Metal Gear, man.
Early 20s.
That's not your childhood. That's not your childhood, sir.
my early 20s.
You gotta get the I have the Metal Gear collection, which you can get on PS3.
Oh yeah.
It comes with like every game. It's like all of them. And I think I'm not sure about this, but I think you can only get like the original Metal Gear Solid, like the PS1. I think you can only get them if you buy the collection. I don't think you can buy them from the store.
Unless you have the disc.
Yeah.
And a fat PS3 like me.
Yeah. So get the collection. It's not that much. $20-$30.
Yeah, I might just do that.
Absolutely worth it.
It's a
you
lot
get
of
like,
stuff I want to play.
You get like 10 games. You get like 10 Metal Gear games. It's like a bunch. They're all there. So.
Yeah. And I forgot that there's a lot of PS classic games on there and PS2 games you can just buy and put on the system, like Parasite Eve. So I'm stoked. This is great. Fucking Spartacus. I don't need that no more.
Get all the Persona games.
With Horizon, I'm gonna sit here and play PS3.
Yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm still gonna play Horizon. I love Horizon. Horizon's a blast. I'm at a really cool point in the game. I don't.
I
Want
wanted to
spoil it for
ask you
people
guys
who
some
listen.
questions about that, if you don't mind.
Oh,
Yeah.
be our guest.
I listened to you guys' conversation since you're both playing it, and I just wanted, I don't even know if they're really good questions. There's more or less some things that I've picked up on listening. I've been, the podcasts that I listen to, the reviewers that do podcasts that I listen to, I've been noticing a couple trends. And I just wanted to get
Okay.
your guys' take on them. The first trend, which I think you guys kind of alluded to on your show, was I find it okay. First trend that I noticed, I'm really surprised how many people didn't finish Horizon. They either didn't play or didn't finish Horizon. I feel like I'm hearing that constantly, like this past week. There's so many people that are like, yeah, I didn't play it, or yeah, I played it, but I didn't finish it. So now I'm really into the second one. Which that's not a question. I just found that to be somewhat surprising. I was like, man, this was such a great game. Can't believe these many people just missed it. But
Yeah, a lot.
I've been hearing a lot of people that are saying that they don't, and I feel it's interesting because I kind of feel like they don't want to say they don't like Aloy, but I'm hearing a lot of people that are like, she's kind of a jerk. Really don't like
Aloy. I like that
this,
she's a jerk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it
Like,
seems to be bothering a lot of people.
I think it's because, like, for the stuff that I've heard, is that people just want to have more agency over what she says, like, instead of just letting.
Yeah,
her
they don't like
be
how
who
she's
she
treating
is.
everybody else in the game.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
when and the thing is like you gotta take yourself out of Aloy. Like, you're not Aloy; she's her own person. And if you look at like how she grew up, the way she treats people makes perfect sense. Like, her character makes sense. Like, these decisions and the way she treats people makes perfect sense. And I feel like a lot of it, to me, I'm looking to see if it pays off in the end, because I really feel like she's going through like this socialization that she did not have because she was an outcast. So she didn't get to have any of like the socialization of how to actually be around people and deal with friends and relationships, because she only had Rost. So like how is she supposed to know how to actually manage relationships? She doesn't. So the way she's treating people is evidence of how she's been brought up. So to me, it makes perfect sense. But I feel like a lot of people just want to have more agency over the character, when it's like, dude, that you just gotta let her be Aloy. Like, you're not Aloy. You have to just let her be herself and be her character and allow her to actually grow. And
That's
I don't think
interesting.
people want that to happen.
Because the second thing
I
that
will
I've
also
noticed,
say it's funny.
go ahead.
What's funny about that is even her compassionate, like, because you can pick like assertive, like diplomatic, or compassionate. Even her compassionate like responses are a little salty. They're not like actually compassionate. They're like, look,
Yep.
I feel sorry for you, so I'm going to say this. I don't know if I really mean this. I'm like, that kind of worked for the character.
It totally makes sense for her character.
And
Like, you
I
can't
remember in
expect me to have
PSXP, you
compassion.
guys kind of explained it that way, which I respect. I just don't think many people are going down that path with you guys.
They
The
lie.
second thing that I'm noticing is a large amount of the folks that I listen to or follow, they all seem to mention how much they love the game, but then they also all seem to mention how many issues they have with the game, either with the story. There appears to be like maybe like a major event, like some 10 hours into the game, that a lot of people don't seem to like, that I've picked up on. But even outside of just that minor thing, they don't like the Forbidden West part of it that I've been hearing a lot. And they're like, it was all forbidden and you're not supposed to go there. But then when you go there, like, everybody's there and there's tons of people there. And I guess the point that I'm starting to pick up on is that everybody, like, it's 9s across the board, right? But it doesn't seem like people are really, their takeaways don't seem to almost support like them when they say, I really love this game. I'm wondering how this game will be remembered.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to the West, but I think like the whole idea of it being forbidden, you got to remember how much information does not travel in the world of Horizon. So like, if you think about the fact where Aloy, the village where Aloy came from, she doesn't know, they don't know anything about all of this stuff. It's good. That looks delicious. But they don't know anything about the West. It's just, as far as they know, it's just forbidden. You don't go there. So, of course, like, there's probably people that have been populated all throughout the world. So even though it's forbidden to you and you've never been there and you just take that as word and you don't go outside of these borders, of course there's going to be people in the West. Of course it's forbidden, but like, it's forbidden to talk to Aloy. She's an outcast. Whatever. Like, but you gotta remember, there's layers to everything in the game. Like, I
I think it
haven't
was
gotten
more
to the last
like
one. I don't know.
all of these characters that you've known before just all kind of show up with her, like in this new place.
If it seems like what it is from what I'm seeing, like, yeah, all of her people that are like, we're not letting you go alone. Like,
Okay.
as much as you're pushing us away,
Yeah,
we're
and the
your people.
IGN
We
podcast
got
that I
your back.
shared, they talked about that a lot. They were like, just let people help you. And she's all like, no, I'm going to do this
Yeah,
by myself and stuff.
because that's all she knows. Like,
Well,
she's
I
the
can.
outcast and she's Elizabeth basically. So she's like, you guys don't have you don't have this insight that I have. And when I try to explain it to you, you guys refuse to accept it. So
Well,
I
I can
got
explain.
this.
I can say this. There is a story reason why people are showing up to the places, because something happens in the middle of the story where it allows them to go, okay, we can leave this certain barrier to
Okay.
go help you.
And that's what I was wondering, because when I'm
I ain't
listening
been
to
there
them,
yet.
they're kind of explaining it. Obviously, none of these people I think have finished the game yet. So as I'm hearing them, I'm like, there's probably more to come when they finish the game. So I was wondering if that pays off. But it's just trends. I'm not saying good or bad. It's just things I'm picking up on. I'm like, wow, this is, because I've heard it in multiple places too, across multiple different outlets. I'm like, this is interesting, because it doesn't feel like that Sony game of the year, widely adopted, everybody's like, oh my god, it's, I love it, like experience that I think a lot of people, or at least that I was expecting to be, and probably think that it is, to be honest with you. I'm very excited to play it. I will be playing it when it comes to PC. I wanted to play it, but the PS5 lull was too strong, Dev. I'm sorry. It was just too much. I couldn't pass on it. But
I hope it never
I'm
comes to
the only
PC
thing
now.
that I really want to hear, because I'll be looking forward to your guys' thoughts over the next few weeks, as you guys can keep playing it, or months in Dev's case if he's going to play it until June. My biggest thing that I would like to know, no spoilers, but I would like to know, like, I would love to know, does this set up for a long, like, is this a franchise? We're running on Horizon 3, 4, 5, or I would like to know, like, or is this, do they maybe kind of close the door on this somewhat to pull away from this going forward? Because it seems, well, another thing that I've heard a lot of the reviewers say is it seems like they've thrown a ton of stuff into this game. Like, they've just basically grabbed all kinds of stuff that you can take from like open worlds, and Horizon has it all. It's got tons of armor, it's got tons of weapons, it's got tons of classes and loadouts, and it's got the glider, and it's got the parkour, and it's the hook shot. Like, it just seems like it's got everything. So some of the discussions I heard was making me think, like, the way they were describing, I was like, is this like a last hurrah, or is it like, are they building towards something new, I guess? Like, is there like a
feel
hook
like
here, or
what I'm playing so far, I feel like they're building out the universe. Like, hey,
Okay.
this is just another part of Aloy's story, but you're gonna meet these other characters, and it's helping flesh out this universe and all these cool things that's in the universe. And I think that's what it really is. Like, the story to me is enthralling. I'm enjoying the story a lot. If you pay attention to the little elements of the story, you can catch certain things that's going on, not only with Aloy, but with the world in general. So
I appreciate the hat tip to me on PS6P, by the way, because with Grouchy, it's not, I didn't recommend that he play 2 and skip the first one because I didn't like the first one. I liked the first game. As you guys know, I always said that I really liked the first game. It's just that I already knew about how Horizon 2 onboards people that didn't play the first one. And as I understand it, it's just a much better version of Horizon. So to me, I thought it was, especially knowing Grouchy, because Grouchy asked it, I was like, he's not going to play them both. So play the good one. Like, play the better one. Play the best version of it. And then if you really like it, then go back. But play
like I said, the recap is really good.
It'll taint it.
If you play 2, do not go back and play 1, because of how like 2 is basically like perfected. It's Horizon perfected. So if you go back and try to play the first one, like, the systems that you're used to,
you're gonna see all the. You're gonna see.
It's just gonna feel like a slog. Yeah. So I would not recommend 2 and then 1.
That's exciting. That's what I was always hoping it was going to be.
That 2 does a really good job of recapping 1, so that you don't really have to replay 1 if you did.
Yes.
Like, I think it does a good job of recapping the story. And to Delvin's point, yeah, I think they're building out the universe, especially if you read some of the logs, some of the files that they give you. Like, there was a lot more going on just in the world before everything broke down, before Zero Dawn happened. that I think that they're alluding to it, and it really is setting up like this massive universe that you can do a heck of a lot more in. Like this is just we're going to the Forbidden West, and it's opening up more doors to go elsewhere and do more with
to the
world.
Horizon universe.
Yeah, that's what it feels like.
Cool,
to me.
cool.
Yeah,
well, that's exciting, guys. I'm excited to play it. I'll be playing when it comes to PC.
I hope it doesn't come to PC. Just for that.
It's gonna happen.
It's gonna
You're gonna be
want you to be
spiteful.
forced to buy a PlayStation.
Nope. Because you know what? Because again, here's what's gonna happen. You're gonna have to suffer for again, just like God of War and Horizon and everything. How great it is on PC. It's like it's so much better.
See, I don't.
No, you do.
It runs great.
Because with all the other ones, you're like, I'm gonna play it again because it's so good on PC.
But I didn't, and I'm not gonna.
But I will.
I don't replay games.
I'll be your other half, man. I'll be your other half. Shake and bake.
You're willing to wait that long though? It's gonna be a minute.
I'm not really in a. Here's the thing.
I never. So we can wait.
I never loved Horizon. I like Horizon. I don't want it to sound like I don't. I think Dev accurately portrayed this. Back when Horizon and Breath of the Wild came out, obviously everybody knows how much I love Breath of the Wild. I think I got painted into this corner as, well, he likes Breath of the Wild, he doesn't like Horizon. That was never the case, and I fought that like almost the entire way. I always said, Horizon's great. I finished the game. I beat the game.
Which apparently a lot of people didn't.
A lot of people did it, right? So it's like, don't throw me in that loop. I just didn't. It's not God of the War. It's not Uncharted 4. I didn't love the game. I thought it was a really good game. It's better than Days Gone. It's better than Order 1886. It's not trash. It's a very, very good game. But to me, I didn't love Horizon like I think a lot of our community does. We have a lot of people on PSVG. Do they love Horizon? Josh loves Horizon. You know, Elaine loves Horizon. I think sometimes when you don't share that admiration, you can be buried by it. You know, because like, oh, if you don't love it, then you must hate it. It's like, no. I like it a lot. It's great. I liked it for the combat. I thought Horizon's combat was stellar. I love beating the shit out of people.
The way you played it, I feel like that is the worst part of the combat.
Kyle always said that too. Like Kyle used to say, but I loved
the melee is quite honestly the worst
such
part of it.
Badass. It was so
Well, you'll
rewarding.
be very pleased to know there is a whole melee tree. Like the melee is way better in this one.
PSXP had me a little scared.
So much more. Well, it's because I feel like all of us like more of the actual.
Well, it just sounded like
that type of
really complex. It sounded like it was a lot going, and that kind of scares me because I'm like,
it is in the sense of like there are builds. Like if you want to just do melee, just get all the melee stuff. So you can literally just spec completely into the melee.
So I don't have to worry about having 18 bows and traps and all. I can just beat up fools.
You can just beat people up. I mean, you're probably gonna have to use some of the other stuff, but
I need a hammer.
I mean, because I don't know if there's not a hammer.
I need Aloy to be basically like my javelin from Anthem. Like,
so you just want to be Aaron is basically what it is. You want to be Aaron. So let's just give you Horizon Zero whatever with Aaron as the main character instead of Aloy because he walks around with a giant hammer.
Those saber tooth machines, punching one of them in the face as it charged you was such a powerful feeling. It was like, oh, you think you're the badass out here, but you're wrong. You don't know shit. I'm the king of this jungle.
I will say that there's some pretty cool weapons in the game.
That's awesome.
Really, really cool that I like a lot. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to spoil too much, but there's like javelins and things like that you're like, holy crap, this is actually
Delvin,
fun.
The question that the listeners really want to know is how much is it like Breath of the Wild?
God damn it. All right, moving on.
Not even close.
Moving the fuck on.
Does it have shrines?
Yes.
I know it does. I know. I already knew it does.
Yeah. It's the better Breath of the Wild. I can't stand that game. I don't
think here's the thing. I actually think you're probably right. Just production value alone and what they're doing, it does. In all seriousness, Horizon and Breath of the Wild shared a lot of similarities. Not tons, but a lot. Not basic design, but similarities. I honestly, when I saw, I've already said this, and I don't mean it. I mean this as a term of endearment, like appreciation. I honestly think Horizon 2 looks a lot like they looked at Breath of the Wild. They cherry picked the best things from it, and they added it to Horizon. And I think you might be right. It might be the better Breath of the Wild. I haven't played it yet, so I can't say. But when I see it, I'm like, oh yeah, I see a lot. I know those mechanics. Those mechanics and similarities are there. It's
And
just
it didn't
bigger,
give me
grander,
no damn stamina bar. Thank
more
the
beautiful.
Lord. Because
I
I
got the
cannot
patch out.
stand stamina.
I got the patch out today. Does that improve your performance mode at all? The resolution, your performance? Did you see the patch came out today?
I didn't see anything about a patch, but
Oh,
the performance mode, it's only during cutscenes, but I think it's because there's so much on screen that if you do it in the performance mode, in order to get it to keep running at 60, they got to drop the resolution because there's so much going on the screen in those cutscenes. So yeah, I just dropped those to resolution.
It's been a long show. It's going to be a long show. And here's the thing, guys, I closed my refinance today. I got rid of my kids. I'm here for a long show if you are. So I'm having fun. I'm not in a rush.
Good with it. I'm not in a rush either. I'm hanging out with my friends.
I'm having a not a great day because I started the day at like 3 a.m. I couldn't sleep. I had a lot to do. I had to get to work early so I could get off early so I could go do the closing. So it's been a long day. So I'm not like super energetic, but I'm just in a good feel good mood. Are you a little concerned that what are we, a year, how far are we into these new consoles?
Almost
18 months.
Gonna be 2 years.
It'll be 2 years in November
this fall.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
It's been a trend. I said this in our PC thing. It's a big reason why I went PC. It's not just Dying Light. It's been a trend. It was totally fine at launch, but as more and more games come out, it's definitely becoming the norm where we keep seeing, like we get the dynamic modes. I'm really happy that Miles Morales is like shining star example of what we want. And Ratchet, but most games aren't that. We get the 4K 30 option, or we get the 1440, 1080, 60 option. Bothers me. Like that's a big reason. Like I didn't want those options. Like I'm not super happy. Now I want to be clear before people are like, oh, you just got rid of your PS5 and that's why you're saying this. It's not. I'm saying this about Xbox too. Honestly, more about Xbox than even the other one. It's just that at the start of this generation, by upgrading the CPU and the SSDs, there seemed to be so much overhead that like the promise of this generation is this was supposed to be the one where we could have it all. The Pro and the One X, those were the pick your poison consoles. These are supposed to be the
poison. It wasn't pick your poison because you couldn't even get 60 frames out of those. It was just
I play a lot of games at 60 on the One X.
Here's a little res boost.
But like these, I was really like, I thought 4K 60 was going to be the norm. 4K 60 or 1080, 1080 120, or like 4K dynamic, but with all the ray tracing and stuff. And it doesn't seem like that the overhead is there yet.
Forget the ray tracing simply because it's AMD. AMD does not have they don't do a good job of ray tracing. It's also, you gotta remember, it's system on a chip. You don't have the dedicated CPU and a dedicated GPU. It's a whole system on a chip. So you're dealing with that issue and the fact that a lot of the games that we're playing now are still games that were developed mainly during the pandemic. So working from home. So you still have a lot of that stuff and cross-gen. Remember, Horizon started off being developed for PS4.
Yeah.
So I'm not terribly worried about it. Mainly because like we're still,
and I don't mean to be alarmist.
Yeah.
It's just the architectures are so similar. It's just like I was expecting more.
I wasn't. I'm not surprised by it at all. Just because again, it's still early in the console's life cycle, and the fact that a lot of games were developed from home and still with backwards compatibility in mind. Especially once we found out that like there's this chip shortage and all of the other issues. It's like, okay, we really got to scale these games if we want to be able to maximize their potential. Right now, we have to also develop them for PS4. So then. Or PS4 and like Series S and all the other stuff. So then it ends up, taking kind of a backseat to optimize completely for the newer stuff. Because you got to
spec.
Yeah, you got to decide, okay, I have this much time. What do I want to do? Because we know it can be done. It's a matter of time and where do I want to put that time right now?
Yeah, but with these architectures, they're basically the same. They're just upgraded hardware. So you're basically, when we talked about this leading up to it, we're basically just boosting up sliders. I know that's a simplistic way of looking at it, but I mean, it really is that. They support these different configurations on PC all the time. I think the evidence has shown that the overhead for a lot of most open world games to be a steady 4K 60 is difficult already. And I'm just wondering how that goes farther. And I don't blame the consoles. Honestly, I think like when I look at really good examples, like I shouted out Miles Morales. I'd also look at like Valhalla. Valhalla's awesome on console. It's great. Those are really good examples of what can be done. I'm just wondering, I think, and I've always said this, like when it comes to devs, dude, they're just going to push the graphics. Like every time you give them more hardware, they're just like, we're going to make it prettier because it sells. Pretty sells so much more copies than frames. I know we say that we want performance and all that, but like, dude, when they put a pretty trailer on YouTube, that's what gets people. That's what hooks people.
Well, what's funny is the trailer for like Horizon, like the state of play, doesn't even look that good. The actual game looks a hell of a lot better than that
Yeah.
trailer did, and that's in the performance mode.
Oh, I've
Like,
seen
it
the photo
looks-
modes, like the photo pics that people are sharing on Twitter are
even the performance
amazing.
mode outside of like that one pic that I showed you. Like there are times when the resolution dips, but otherwise, like it looks and plays incredibly well.
That's
like
good.
it is amazing. Like it is amazing how well this game
Like
actually
Ratchet,
does run.
Miles Morales, Ghost of Tsushima. Well,
God, absolutely.
that's awesome. That's good to hear.
Absolutely.
That's good to hear.
And it's only going to get better. Like again, like this game was developed in a pandemic, and there's going to be patches, and it's going to get better. So I'm not terribly worried about not being able to really get to a lot of games where they're running at a 4K 60, even if it's a dynamic 4K checkerboard at 60. 60 checkerboard.
Yeah,
at, like,
no,
4K
I don't
with
mean to
60
come off
frames.
as a snob. I know maybe there's people
No,
out there.
I get it.
I always think that people say that, but like 1600, 1800, like that's good. But like when you start dipping to 14 and 1080, it's like
Yeah, well,
we paid
this one doesn't-
$500 for these consoles. We're supposed to be way beyond that now.
Yeah.
That's the stuff that really gets me. Like Dying Light.
Yep.
Dying Light on consoles, kind of. It's no thanks.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it'll get better. I'm sure
Don't we
eventually
usually get like the best of that like near the end of the console generation?
Yeah, I
Typically,
mean,
yeah.
as these
Seeing that.
developers use more and more as they develop their toolkits to optimize. And I don't mean to. That has always been the case, and I think people are putting a lot of faith that that will be the case. And I'm not pushing back. The only caveat, if you will, is that I'll bring up is that a lot of these tools and a lot of the architecture is the same. It just has more horsepower. This isn't a complete like new generation. It's like a continuation of the last. It's a better last generation.
That makes sense.
It's not like before. It's not like GameCube and 360. Like it's not that. It's different because these are both the PS4, the PS5, and the Xbox One and the series. These are basically PCs. It's the same thing. It's just
you're
better.
getting diminishing returns.
Yeah, that's it.
Basically what it is. You're getting
So
these
it's not
diminishing
like they're like,
returns.
oh, we've got to learn how to program for the PS5. That's not. They're not doing that. They
Yeah.
may have to optimize some tools. They might need to, adjust their engines, but they're not worried about. That's not a concern. They're not like, how do we figure out the cell processor? That's not a part of this equation.
Because even on like high-end PCs, a lot of time it's hard to get a really stable, like rock solid 4K 60, especially when you throw in like any kind of ray tracing and stuff.
Without DLSS, it definitely wouldn't happen.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. Like the PS5 nor the Xbox have DLSS because it's AMD. They have the FSR, which just isn't as good as DLSS.
Even with DLSS, ray tracing really tanks it. I tried playing Cyberpunk with max full ray tracing is gorgeous to look at, and it runs like poo. It's like, I'm not playing this game like this. No thanks. But you know me, Dev. I've always said I'll trade ray tracing for performance any day.
I mean,
It looks
I'm the same
pretty,
way.
but I
You
don't
know
need
me,
it that bad.
I need my frames. I need my frames, plain and simple. And I'm glad that people are starting to come around and realize, like, once you started playing in 60, and then you go back and try and play in 30, it's like, ooh, this is a slideshow. This is not comfortable. To
Feels
play.
jerky. It's like janky. It's like
does.
stuttery. You're like,
Yeah.
what is
It's like you're
happening?
running in molasses.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. I don't like that, Dan. You ruined me. You fucking broke me.
We've
I'm
enlightened you.
so
I was
happy.
We've shown you the light.
Right. I've opened the door, and now you've walked through it. There's no going
First
back.
you were blind. Now you can see.
Hell yes.
So many of our listeners are like, I want to stay blind. Damn it! Don't do this to me.
Right.
That was me in
just-
Nintendo Shack. They know not what they speak. They don't know.
Yeah.
They don't know any better.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Come on, just come and adopt the Church of Unlimited Frames. It's okay.
Oh, it's so
It's
good.
okay. We love you here. We want
Dying
the
Light's
best for you.
beautiful. Cyberpunk is beautiful. 4K 60. Oh my god, just
It looks amazing on console. Like with this patch,
Does it?
it looks and
Perfect.
plays so fucking good.
Does it do cool things with the controller?
Probably.
Because one thing we didn't talk about, Dev, is I bought these headphones.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I got these Razer headphones. Did you see these, Delvin?
No, I
You know
didn't
he
see
don't
those.
pay attention. He don't pay attention, especially not the PC area.
I just bought these
Definitely don't.
this week. Here's the cool thing about these headphones. They're not the best headphones you can buy. I'm not about to tell you how great games sound. Delvin, they have haptic feedback. My headphones rumble.
That's cool.
When I shoot or drive, my headphones rumble. When bass plays in music, they shake, they vibrate.
That is really cool.
And it's haptics. It's not just like rumble motors. It's legit haptics. Yeah. They scale up and down with the intensity of the bass. And I'm not here to tell you it's the most amazing thing you've ever seen. I will tell you it's an experience. It's like bringing a piece of VR with you to like every game that you have. I played Cyberpunk with it earlier. A downside to this, Delvin or Dev, and anybody that's listening is one downside that I noticed just playing Cyberpunk really quickly. It doesn't. I wish I could set it to only vibrate like on sound effects or music. It doesn't. It just does both. So if you're playing in a game that has sound effects and music, it can just like jargle together. So I turn the music down. Like in Cyberpunk, I was like, turn the music way, 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 way down. So, but driving, feeling the vibration on your ears, like on your head while you're driving and in the controller and the rumble is a pretty immersive experience.
What's the name of those headphones?
These are the Razer Nari Ultimates is what they're called.
With the HyperSense. That's
with the HyperSense.
That's what Razer calls their haptic feedback.
Yeah, because me and Dev are constantly talking. Dev knows that I got these headphones for $30.
Oh, you got it for a steal.
They're $200 normally.
I'm looking
They've
at
been
it
out
right
since
now.
I think 2018. They're on sale right now, like Best Buy for like $150. Unless you
I got them
with Donnie
in the Amazon warehouse. They were like new condition, refurbished for $60, and I had $30 Amazon points. And I was like, I want to give these a try because I wanted to up my headphone game. What I wanted is I wanted RGB headphones. I've RGB'd everything. I got new lights, got new desk pad. I wanted RGB headphones. And then I found that these had vibration like haptics. And I was like, well, that's interesting. I've never experienced anything. And again, I don't think it's for everybody, but it's definitely really cool. Like it's definitely something. It's definitely something you've never experienced before. It's different.
Did you sell your Arctis?
No, I still got them. If anybody wants them.
Because you could just buy the cable and then you'll have RGB headphones. You don't have to use them.
Nah, I'm done.
But they can be light up on your desk.
You also know that I wanted wireless ones. I wanted wireless headphones.
Yeah, I sit at a desk. I don't need wireless.
Nah, I do. I got too much stuff. I got too many drinks. But it's cool, man. It's really like when I was shooting, they have a sound test in the Razer software where you hear a helicopter blade like twirl and you can hear it going all the way around you as it starts to shake and thump. And I was like, honestly, I put it on Jack's head and he looked at me and I was like, dude, Call of Duty's going to be fucking lit. Like I've got to play I've got to play Call of Duty with these headphones as soon as possible. It's really, really cool. So
I wonder if I wonder if all the haptics and stuff actually will work on PS5 or anything. I wonder if that only works on PC with
I bet with the software
app.
And in the software you can ratchet up the haptics or turn them down. I will say, as someone I've tested music, video, music, and games. I do think that if you're out there listening and you're interested in trying it, I would encourage you to try it because I think it's worth trying. I do think it's something you will adjust based on what you're doing. Like I won't have the same settings that I do for a shooter when I'm listening to music, when I'm playing, an indie game or something like it's something you're gonna have to play with. So if you don't want to do that, don't get these. If you don't just want to plug them in and go, these aren't for you. But if you're like, it sounds really cool, I want like a more immersive experience. Yeah, it's gonna be hard for me not to play with these on now. I don't know. It just makes like your scalp tingle, Dev. It's just like,
they do make the Nari Ultimate for the Xbox One. So
that's cool.
Maybe.
I didn't even know that.
Oh,
Yep.
And they glow. Gotta get the RGB, man.
You gotta have RGB.
Gotta have it. Everything. RGB, everything.
RGB, all the things.
Dev, I
I
love
like
this
it.
monitor
That sounds cool.
that you picked out.
Yeah. I have an upgrade for you. Whenever you're ready. Whenever
You were
wanna,
spot on, man.
Whenever you want to move up.
When you sit 18 inches away from it, it's so big.
I tried to explain to you. I don't want to sit at my desk and game.
Oh, I got a new chair. My work bought me a chair. I told my boss, I was like, dude, my ass is killing me. I sit at this computer all day. Can you get me a chair? He sent me one of our, he went to our provider who gives our dispatchers chairs. And they had one shipped to my house.
Oh, that's
Lovely.
cool.
It's a 24/7 chair. Like it's built to be sat in all day.
All the time, yeah.
That's what it is. Yeah.
Very nice, very nice. All right. We've moseyed around this long enough. Donnie, let's get into this news.
Let's try to do this. Yeah, let's try to do the news somewhat quickly. But before we do, I definitely want to just remind everybody, if you're out there and you would like to submit in a clip for the news, you'll take all comers. So you can be like one of our many friends.
Hey PSVG, this is Jesse from The Last of Us Part 2. What's happening this week in video games?
Did that play for anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Did
saw
it? Didn't play for me at all. It's completely frozen.
I mean,
wow.
the first time you did like Sean's, I didn't see that one either. But
Damn it,
played.
Melon. All right. Capcom's countdown timer ended, which gave us our first look at Street Fighter 6 with Ryu and Luke. No platform's date or anything was confirmed beyond them saying that more is coming this summer, which great. Fantastic. Thanks, Capcom.
Called it.
Really need you need a countdown for that, right, guys?
I called it. I told you exactly what was happening. I said, look,
Yeah.
the Capcom Cup is happening right now with Street Fighter. Its countdown ends at that time. It's going to be Street Fighter 6.
Yeah, I knew it was going to be Street Fighter, yeah. They also announced the Capcom Fighting Collection for PC and consoles. It comes in June. It's $40. If you pay $60, you'll get Street Fighter 30th Anniversary Collection bundled in. This will feature 10 games across the Darkstalkers, Night Warriors, Vampire Hunter, Red Earth, Cyberbots, Super Gem, and Super Puzzle Fighter, as well as Hyper Street Fighter 2. They'll all come with online play and a rollback netcode.
I'm so
excited
for Darkstalkers. I'm so happy. I've loved Darkstalkers forever, so I'm very excited about this. Plus, I think the Vampire Hunter, Red Earth, and Cyberbots are all games that did not come to the West.
Yeah,
So
I was
those
hearing
games are
that
actually Japan
Darkstalkers never
only.
came over.
And the Red Earth is actually an RPG, so that ought to be real interesting. And then the Super Gem and the Super Puzzle Fighter, I know a lot of people who love those games, so I think it's awesome that they're finally coming out in another rendition.
I didn't know about half of these games until they were announced, and I don't care that they've been announced. So that's my stance on it. How about you, Delvin?
I'm excited to play them. I used to like Darkstalkers and stuff like that. I like the
Nice.
Capcom fighting games. They don't make them like that no more. So
No, they don't.
they
Aren't
kind of
they
gave up. They just like
They're
we're just gonna make
still
Street Fighter
releasing
now.
like Street Fighter and Street Fighter 2 constantly.
Yeah, just those. That's it. Like that was an era where Capcom was like, we're gonna just make a fighting game out of anything, and they did it. And
Yeah.
now we're not doing it anymore.
That is true. Just how much the gaming industry used to just be like, we'll just copy and paste like everything over and over and over again. Like they could never get away with that anymore.
Yep, there's so many Street Fighter clones. I really wish they just like re-release, redo Marvel vs. Capcom 2, please.
That's the one. Yeah,
Infinite and 3 were trash.
I'm really
Yeah.
surprised that they haven't done that with all the Marvel push that's been going on.
Same. I imagine it's probably some crazy licensing deal that they
Licensing.
just can't afford.
Yeah. Street Fighter 6's logo has come under heavy scrutiny when they've got their very generic SF in a hexagon emblem, which is
trash.
basically an asset that you can buy off Adobe Premiere. Like they just went to a free trademark site and gave them $18 for license fee and then slapped a little 6 on it. We could have done a better job at designing Street Fighter's logo than that. B-Mox would have nailed it out of the park.
For real. I'm like, Mox,
This
just
is
go ahead and help them
embarrassing.
out,
It is
please.
embarrassing that
It's trash.
Capcom did this for a logo.
Absolute trash.
It's real bad. Oh, fun news. This came out yesterday. Reportedly, Activision will give Treyarch's Call of Duty game, previously thought to be lined up for 2023, more time in the hopper as it's now expected to come out in 2024. This comes via Bloomberg and Jason Schreier. Activision is reportedly working on other projects to fill the gap next year, including, quote, a steady stream of additional content for this year's Call of Duty game, Modern Warfare 2, and a new free-to-play online title, which I thought was just going to be Warzone 2, but then as I shared earlier in the leaks and stuff, there's a lot of stuff people talking about it might be a free-to-play zombies game, which would be cool. I mean, that makes a lot of sense.
So do you just add a zombies mode to whatever, what is it called?
Warzone has had
Warzone.
zombies events, but I guess like a free-to-play zombies would have like a more dedicated, support. Because zombies is kind of a throw-in part of it, but this will make the first time in under 2 decades that Call of Duty has not had an annual release, which is
Thank God. We should all be clapping for this.
a big part of the industry.
Yeah,
Like, thank you.
that's great.
We don't need Call of Duty every fucking year.
We talked
Do
about
something
this.
else.
We talked
Yeah.
about this when they were bought. We talked about this with Jeff. There's a lot of things here. I got into arguing with Kevin about this last night in the Discord.
Yeah, you do.
People think it's heated. I don't. But I mean, look, I don't want to use Kevin as my soundboard. Kevin's not alone. There's a lot of people that are like, well, this is because of the acquisition. I don't think that. I think it's a very cynical way of looking at it. If you want me to defend it, I think there are obvious things that have already happened that you could look at as more evidence as to why this is happening than that. I would start with, remember that Treyarch got booted off their game. Treyarch was working Cold War. Sledgehammer was working Cold War. Treyarch had to step in to finish it, right? Like they had to come in and do that.
That was the reverse.
No. Sledgehammer was working on it with Raven. Treyarch had to come in. So Treyarch they just shipped a game, Cold War, like 2 years ago, right? I'm pretty sure that's right.
I thought Treyarch did.
No, because Sledgehammer just did Vanguard.
Right.
Yeah.
So Treyarch was working on Cold War. Cold War and Black Ops is Treyarch. Sledgehammer did Vanguard.
No, right. You're right. But Cold War started as Sledgehammer and Raven's project, and they weren't gonna make it. There was like a year before Cold War came out, there was this big Jason Schreier article where he was like, Sledgehammer is getting booted off their project because it's not working, like it's not coming together. And then Treyarch came in and saved the day. So Treyarch had to come in to save that game, and now they're up to ship another game just 2 years later. Like they probably need time because they just did that one. Plus, as we've already seen, basically since Activision has launched Warzone, right? These Call of Duty games have suffered. If they're not bad, they're selling well, but the sales are lagging, right? The performance and the reviews are lagging to their standard. Like, I think there's a really strong case to be made that Activision has had a really hard time supporting Warzone and the annual release and Call of Duty Mobile, even with all of their studios working on it. And Jeff talked to us about, Jeff already came on our show when they bought him, and he said then Activision has had a hard time fueling the Call of Duty machine. They can't keep people. They can't find people to replace people. They're having a hard time with talent, like just keeping talent on board and keeping this machine going. We talked about it. They've bled the stone dry. They've retched like every drop of blood from Call of Duty that they could to make their shareholder price as strong as it could. And that's a big part of the reason why they sell. Yeah, Bobby Kotick's issues is a big part of it too. But another big part of it was they realized that in the coming years that this was going to have to happen and the shareholders were going to be happy. That they want the annual Call of Duty money.
And Donnie was right. I verified it. Cold War was originally a Sledgehammer game.
Yeah, I looked it up too.
Yeah, so I think there's if you look at what's happened, this makes a ton of sense. This isn't because they don't want to make the game. This isn't because Activision wants to save the money. This isn't because they're like, well, Microsoft will come in and they'll change it, or they could change it, and we don't want to spend it. They're not gonna pay Treyarch to not do anything. They're working on the game. They just need more time. Games are hard, even Call of Duty.
Yes, especially Call of Duty at this point, because they're just not selling like they used to.
And look, here's the thing. I'm not saying I'm right. I don't know. Nobody knows. That's the point. Honestly, that's what I'm saying, is that nobody knows. But I think there's a lot of evidence here to point to that. versus just kind of making up some speculation. It's sexier to say Microsoft on that, but they can't have a say in it.
Yep.
They can't have an say into it until they take over.
It actually goes down. Yeah, like.
Yep.
I feel like this is good.
I was reading.
Honestly.
I was reading that it's good for Activision, but it's bad for video game companies because they're going to have that big hole where revenue will be coming in for video games and it's not going to be there.
Matt Piscatella posted a thread where he said that he thinks that this could push more people down the look. It's another stepping stone to we're not releasing the big product. We're releasing a product and then we're supporting it with microtransactions. It's more of a service type support model, which is what we're already seeing. It's what we're seeing with Warzone. It's what we've seen with Fortnite, but it's what we're seeing with Assassin's Creed and Infinite. And it's what we're seeing with Destiny. And it's what we're seeing with Far Cry. And if you're worried about that being the model, Matt Piscatella said that in Call of Duty not being there and doing this is going to push people more that way, push more people to digital, push more people to microtransactions. I think there's some, I think he's right. Whether or not that's permanent, I think is open for debate, but he is right.
I feel like it gives other games a chance to actually breathe in that space. I think you might actually see people pick up other games. I bet you Battlefield is like, God dang it, if we didn't just wait 2 years.
Dude, Battlefield. I told you, and I'm not saying this to say I was
space.
right, but I kept telling everybody, I was like, Battlefield looks rough. Like to that whole thing, and everybody was like, I got Battlefield, there are people excited, and they have screwed the pooch. They've just ruined.
Once they said it wasn't no campaign, I'm like, I'm out. I can't do it.
Of course. And I was with you, but it was even beyond that. I even kept saying beyond that, I was like, guys, this doesn't look good. Just the game, everything just doesn't look great. And it's just been a nightmare.
I had a friend of mine wanted to send me a copy of it. Like, you can have my copy. I'm like, no, I'm good.
Dude, people are big mad. They're super bad. And then they delayed all of the progression and all the season updates. And like, dude, people are pissed.
There's a huge petition for trying to get refunds for it too right now.
And that's the thing. If you're going to take the campaign out and focus completely on multiplayer,
it's got to be
have to deliver.
It has to be flawless. Yeah.
You have to deliver. You can't just do that and just be like, they'll be there. You have to service. You have to service the player. That's how that works. If you don't, then this is what happens.
Especially when you're the stepchild to begin with. Like, Battlefield is the stepchild. Let's just call it what it is.
It's the alternative.
They are not the marquee. It's the alternative. Exactly.
It's the alternative.
So if you're the alternative and you ain't hitting on all cylinders, it's not gonna end well for you. So,
I miss Medal of Honor. But Dev, I think you make a good point. Maybe some folks that were planning on vacating a window, like, hey, can we get there before Black Friday? Can we get in there?
Some of these games that are coming out in February, we could have just like, let's not do this next year. Let's not put everything in February. Let's move some stuff.
It would be really, really smart. Like if you're EA to be like, can we remaster Bad Company? Can we get a remaster out in this window?
I was going to say Battlefront. Just put Battlefront out around that time.
Yeah.
We don't need another Battlefront.
Remaster. I think remastering a game, like off of this news, if you can remaster a military shooter and put it in that window, it makes a lot of
Titanfall 2.
Sense. Yeah. Titanfall.
Please.
Rainbow
Titanfall
6.
2, Titanfall 3.
Do you like Rainbow Six Vegas, Spec Ops, like anything? Just grab one of those, pretty it up and put it out in that window. You might make yourself a pretty penny off of it. This is a big deal.
Don't say Rainbow Six because that's Ubisoft. They're going to go ahead and throw some NFTs in there with their podcasts.
Oh, God. Make a live service version. Anyway, Call of Duty. I applaud the move. This has been long overdue, and I hope Call of Duty is better for it. Another thing that I was going to say, I didn't write it down, but it just hit me. In addition to all of the issues they've had with the studios that we've already covered, we've also seen their campaign shrink since Infinite Warfare. Getting them off of their annual cycle might mean that they can actually get back to giving us a proper Call of Duty campaign. Not Infinite Warfare, but like Modern Warfare.
Modern Warfare. I'm excited for that this year. I'm really excited. Oh, Modern Warfare was so good.
Yeah, and Modern Warfare 2 is going to be great. And to be clear, folks, that Call of Duty is coming out this year. Infinity Ward is working on Modern Warfare 2, the sequel to the 2019 reboot. That's this year. That's not the game we're talking about. We're talking about an unannounced Call of Duty for next year from Treyarch. So Infinity Ward does Modern Warfare, Sledgehammer does Vanguard and Advanced Warfare, and Treyarch does Black Ops and Cold War, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. PlayStation showed off PSVR 2 this week via the PlayStation blog. There was a big focus on ergonomics, comfort. It's lighter, it's slimmer, has an adjustable headband, has an adjustable scope and headphone port, has a new lens adjustment dial, a new built-in motor, and new vent that helps it not to fog up as much. And they showed off what it looks like. It looks like the PS5. It's got the white. They showed the controllers. It's got the Halo rings that you attach to. Delvin, I think you're the only one of us that are still planning on getting this, right? Yeah.
It looks great. Yeah, it looks great. It looks better than the original one did. It looks more like a VR system as opposed to a toy. So I'm excited for it. It looks smoother, a lot more.
Day one?
Aerodynamic. Day one, yeah.
You know he's gonna be there day one.
That's exciting. That's cool, man. I hope it's everything. I hope they have a big lineup, and I want VR to succeed. I always have.
I do too.
I want VR to succeed so it can become the Halo deck. That's what I want. Just the holo deck from Star Trek.
Holodeck,
That's all I want. Yeah.
My concern still remains. I don't know if Sony can support a very fruitful console space and a very fruitful VR space. That's always been my concern.
I don't think they can. I hope they understand that. And they just, okay, this is the niche thing we're going to have here. And we're going to just keep supporting it because it makes just enough money so it can survive.
I think they're going to throw like an exclusive out of the year, and it's going to be like Vita.
Yeah.
You know, they just got to get serious third-party support. They got to find a way to get a good amount of third-party support on there.
Mm-hmm.
And surprisingly, the original PSVR has some decent support to it. So if it has anything like that, I'm fine with it. I'm happy.
I just hope
because games constantly came out for it.
It's
going to be
like
something close to that.
It's got to be like $350. You can't have it costing more than the console you need to play it. Like that's asking for trouble.
Anything over $349 is that's kind of dead on. It's dead on arrival. 100%. See, I honestly think $299 is pushing it with the Quest. If you're trying to compete with the Quest, and maybe they're not, but if you're trying to compete with the Quest, if you look at that as your competition, then anything over $299 is you're really pressing your luck. You better have like a Mario game, like a true bona fide system seller. You better have a Wii Sports, you better have something that pushes units if you're trying to come in at $299 or higher.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. The Valhalla Dev 1.5 patch is out now.
1.5. What is this nonsense?
This patch paves the way for Dawn of Ragnarok coming March 10th. Happy birthday to me. Also improves the base game stealth, various bug fixes. It adds a new difficulty, Saga difficulty, which is basically story mode, which is awesome. I'm glad for the people that want to. Maybe I never had an issue with the difficulty, but maybe more people finish the story. Just do the game's super long. I did want to go and give you guys more bug fixes. I remember the mission that I always brought up in Xbox Empire. That's been fixed. The problem is that the notes for this were like 8 pages deep. They're like 1,000 missions have been fixed. Like it's basically like a complete rebuild
there's like
of the
40,000 missions in the game.
Yeah. Eves Gimo said that revenue for the game Valhalla has surpassed $1 billion as of December 2021. Not Assassin's Creed, just Valhalla. That's insane. And Seven writes in, he goes, since I'm playing a lot of Valhalla at the moment, what do you think about the upcoming Assassin's Creed Infinite? Which potentials do you see in that idea, and which risks are there from your perspective?
I don't want I don't want live service AC. I just don't. Like I feel like the games are too big as it is at this point. Like I miss a more streamlined approach to AC. So,
I think that's kind of the point. I think that's what they want to get back to.
Yeah, I would love that. But if we're talking about like some live service thing, I mean, I think the potential is it'll make them a lot of money, maybe. Like if you just keep adding on DLCs and you have your microtransactions, and that way you have a game that's living and you don't have to constantly develop a brand new game. You can just develop more content. So like that service model works if the game is good and has an audience. But if it's not an online game, it also is just weird to me. Like having this live service model, it's not online.
I don't think it's different than what we've seen with Valhalla. Valhalla's been a live service game. They've had live events. They've had DLCs, expansions have rolled out basically on time. The only difference is like they're promoting a hub. Like you buy into this Assassin's Creed hub and everything kind of lives there. My concern, we've talked about this before, so I'll be quick, but my biggest concern is I question whether it actually will make them more money. I think there's like a knee-jerk reaction to be like, anything with microtransactions makes more money.
Yeah.
I think there's some concern for Assassin's Creed not having the semi-annual box retail big release. And if it's not there, how many people can you keep coming back to Assassin's Creed, the Infinite Hub app for a new expansion? Like, are they going to be there? Like, are the casuals that buy Assassin's Creed, is that what they want? I don't know. I don't think anybody does, but like, I think it's a risk to walk away from something that, like, we're talking about Assassin's Creed here. This is Ubisoft's bread and butter. Like, this is their thing.
Yeah.
And you want to potentially put that at risk for hopes that people will just log into like this Destiny-like Creed experience and just get extra campaigns and, new missions and stuff from there. And they'll do that for 2, 3, 4 more years. That worries me. That worries me.
It's a big risk. I don't know if I would take it.
Do they have any game that does that? Maybe Siege? And that's not nearly as big a community.
Siege, they was hoping that what's the
one of the
medieval
Division
game?
Yeah,
the medieval game they had. What was the game called?
The what?
Damn, the medieval game they had where you play as the knights and stuff.
Oh, For Honor.
For Honor,
yeah. They wanted that for that, but
and none of those games are Assassin's Creed.
Yeah,
but Assassin's. This is a gigantic, install base. And I just wonder, like, if you walk in and they're like, "Oh yeah, you don't buy Assassin's Creed anymore. You got to go download Assassin's Creed Infinite, and then you'll buy the expansion there." I wonder how many people just be like, "Yeah, I'm not doing that."
Yeah, there's a lot of kids like.
It's just a change in behavior, I guess, is more or less what I'm concerned about. But
yeah, I don't know if I
maybe Ubisoft Plus means that it doesn't matter.
That's the other thing. I mean, we gotta wait to see like what this really is. Like what's the real deal? And like you said, like at Ubisoft Plus, if that's coming to Xbox, and if it's already on PC, like this could be like, it doesn't matter, just get Ubi Plus and you're good to go. So
that's what I'm planning on doing for Ragnarok. I'm gonna try that. It's a free to play weekend this week in Valhalla. I'm gonna try to transfer my stay from Xbox to my PC. And if all works well and it runs great, I'm just gonna pick up Ubisoft Plus for March. I'll play it that way.
Sense.
It's $10 versus what, $40?
Smart.
Easy decision. Yeah.
That's how I played Watch Dogs for the short little period I played that.
All right, quick hitters. 2K will launch multiple officially licensed Lego sports games. Excited?
Sounds cool.
Maybe that's where FIFA goes. Maybe it becomes FIFA Lego.
Oh God!
Because they said they're doing a soccer game, and EA once apparently dropped the FIFA name. I do not want NBA 2K Lego. That sounds awful. And
to me, any sport Lego game sounds stupid. But
FIFA, I don't
games.
like. I mean, I'm not going to play soccer anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But like, I kind of get it. I was trying to think. I was like, would I be open to a Lego themed football game? And I was like, what if it was kind of like Tecmo Bowl, but kind of Legoed? I would probably try it.
People they'd blow up.
Yeah. I mean, Lego golf, I think makes some sense. Do a Lego golf game.
Sure.
Yeah. Square says Guardians of the Galaxy undershot initial expectations.
Of course it did. It's Square. Everything undershoots their expectations.
Yeah,
everything was Square.
Like, God, what are your expectations? What nonsense world do you live in?
We're gonna sell 1 trillion copies of this game.
They launched it.
What you mean we only sold 10 million? What are you guys doing over there?
I was surprised because this game has gotten such high reviews, but they launched it in a really busy time. And I know so many of our friends and folks that we listen to in our Discord, so many of them are like, it was their second or third game. Like they all got it. Like I know so many people that got it, but they had to get to it. Mm-hmm. So I was hoping that Guardians of the Galaxy had kind of a longer tail. I still haven't played it, but
I don't think that it's a really good game, but it's
Yeah, I don't know
think
anybody
there
that
is a
said a
long
bad
tail
thing
for
about
it.
it, to be honest with you.
Because it's just an in-case experience. Like you play it and that's it. Like there's nothing to like really go back for unless you really want to try and do all the different like dialogue choices and see where that goes. But it's one of those like this is the experience. It's good and we're happy. Yeah, I mean,
Yes.
pretty much. Square is the 40-year-old single dude because no girl was ever good enough.
Square's being Square, man.
Yeah.
They're also considering more HD 2D remakes of Super Nintendo games, which has gotten all those folks excited, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Give me. I'll take an HD 2D remake of Chrono Trigger.
I think that's the hope, right?
Send it
Dragon
over there.
Age.
Let's go.
I'm not Dragon Age. Dragon Quest.
I don't care about that.
Yeah. I think the only 2D HD game that I actually really want is like A Link to the Past. I would play the shit out of a 2D HD remake of A Link to the Past.
I mean, you know, I would. That's like my number one game of all time for the most part. So
Yeah.
I'd be all about that.
But you also know me, Dev. I don't give a shit about Square Enix.
I don't really either.
I feel like it's like a
Parasite
taboo. It's a taboo thing to admit, like in gaming circles. You're talking about some people's
Really?
deep love.
Look,
dude, people
I'm
love
not
Square
super
Enix
into
franchises.
the RPG. So like, I remember when they were just SquareSoft. How about that?
Yeah. Fallout 76 roadmap was updated. We'll have new public events, expeditions, and missions featuring alien invasions, robot fights, and more.
Why?
You
Damn.
could have left that out.
They've turned
You
that
could've left
around.
that out.
Fallout 76 has been pretty good for them.
No, you could have left that out the news.
Steam Fest is happening right now. Are you guys enjoying Steam Fest?
What the hell is Steam Fest?
They have
Great.
Steam Fest has like 1,000 demos up from upcoming indie games that you can download.
Hell no.
All right, so listeners, if you're at home and you want to follow along with Donnie will be playing Little Orpheus, Blacktail,
What?
and a game that I'm very excited about called Turbo Overkill that's on Steam Fest this weekend. Go download them, play them. Dev, I'm not telling you to play it. I know you're not. Dev, go look at the game Turbo Overkill. Just go look at the trailer. You do too, Delvin. It looks fucking awesome. PlayStation
Is it like
Plus
some
for
Doom
March.
shooter? Because that's what it sounds like.
PlayStation Plus for March is Ghost of Tsushima Legends. What is Legends?
It's the online like.
Is it free to play?
PvP. It's free to play if you bought the game, but then they also
Yes.
release it separately if you didn't buy it. But it's this it's like 3-player. It's 4-player. It's a 4-player mode that's online, so you can play with your friends and your
Squad.
Oni
Do you do
and
the
stuff like that.
campaign?
No, there's a campaign in it.
It's a
Where
campaign in it.
it's
but
2 players. Like you
But
can
it's like
partner
its
up with
own
somebody.
separate thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's its own separate thing. It's basically telling the story of the game, but from like the Oni version. Like Jin is like a demon, and he came and he destroyed the demons. It's crazy, but it's the
yokai
multiplayer
version of the story.
game. The yokai version. There you go. Yokai.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the word I couldn't figure out.
Dude, this is
But
totally
it's-
for a
it's-
loop. I didn't know this even
Yeah.
existed.
Yeah, it's the multiplayer
pretty
portion
cool.
of it. Yeah,
Cool.
it's pretty. dope.
Ghost Runner, which is awesome. If you don't mind getting punched in the face repeatedly, that game is hard as balls.
I'm
and
terrible at that game.
that game is so tough. Here's the
I
thing.
have
Sad
yet to
thing
play
is,
it.
it's so much fun. Like when it's easy, I was like, this game fucking rocks. And then I got like, 5 hours into it, and I was like, I can't even move. I'm dying constantly. I hate this game. And Team Sonic Racing. So, you guys excited? PlayStation Plus, month of March.
I mean, I have most of that, and I'm never going to play Team Sonic Racing, so I could care less.
Team Sonic Racing, as the kart racer person here, Team Sonic Racing is a fine kart racer. It's just not nearly as good as Sega All Stars. Sonic All Stars was awesome, and that game isn't half as good as Sonic All Stars. So I was a little let down with it. And then Xbox Twitch integration is live for everyone. They've basically taken what you used to be able to do with Mixer, and they've replaced it with Twitch, and it's now out for everybody. It's been in early access for a while, but you can now just open your guide, go to Capture, tie your account, and then go hit stream, and it'll just go to your Twitch account like it has on PlayStation 4 for the last decade.
Right. I was going to say,
You guys have known that I've been I've been on this sandbox.
Do that on Xbox.
I've been on this sandbox about Xbox for years. You can stream to Twitch. You always have been able to on Xbox. But going back to Don Matrick, you had to download the Twitch app. You had to do this stupid snap thing where you open the app and you set it up and you went back to the game.
God.
It was a
Why?
damn mess. It always has been a mess. And they finally fixed it these 8-9 years later.
I mean, you've been able to do that, like you said, on PlayStation since day one, like Twitch and
day
YouTube.
one,
like just
and
you
hit a button,
go.
And
you got overlays and everything now on the PS5.
You can change your overlay and you can position your camera, but they don't have, like, you can't do the cutouts for the camera, the filters for the like PlayStation experience is still better.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, we've also had the share button for 2 generations now.
At least it works now. At least it works. It is an improvement. It is an improvement. And that's all that I had for the news this week, Dev.
Woohoo! Well,
it's a good Mario
let's get
impression.
Into these questions. Woohoo! Yeah, stupid Mario. My son loves Mario so much. He loves
Mario's
him.
awesome. Fat plumber.
Yeah.
I guess.
You don't like fat plumbers, Dev? You gotta
I
get
don't
plumbers.
know anybody that loves fat plumbers. I don't really
They're
care
the
about
backbone
plumbers.
of our society.
Yeah, I wouldn't trust. I wouldn't
toilet.
trust a skinny plumber. I'm like, nah, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
You just get here. You just get out of college or something. I need a more experienced person.
Yeah.
I just, whoever the company sends, I don't really care. Just fix the damn toilet if it's messed up. I'm not checking for the plumber.
You should care. This.
You should.
Yeah, nobody. You want to be messing up your life, your toilet life.
I've never had those problems. As
water.
A matter of fact, I think I've only ever had to have a plumber come out like one time in my
Remember, my
entire
uncle's
life.
a plumber, and I'm telling you, your toilet and your water situation will mess up your whole life. Those are things you don't cheap out on that. Like, you need very good expert customer service.
I feel like that's a thing where you guys.
I agree.
I don't feel like we have those problems here. I've never ever had anybody have any of the issues that you guys have had with plumbing. So
I haven't had issues. I replaced the toilet a couple of times. That's like the only issue I've had for a while. But obviously, you got to replace toilets, Dev.
Hearing about like sump pumps and stuff like that, you forget.
Yeah, we do have. I do have a sump pump. I have a sump pump, and so does Nathan.
I don't even know what that is.
You don't know what a sump pump is? Well, that's because you live in California, where they don't even have like houses with like square footage. Everybody just lives in a trailer in somebody's closet or something.
No, we live in an apartment. I've lived in an apartment all my life until like now, and even with that, what the hell?
Yeah, it's a house thing. It definitely is a house thing. It's not going to be an apartment thing. So, a sump pump. So, like, my house has a basement, and it's partially underground, so it's below ground level.
Out here.
That's the issue. So, a sump pump is a pump that will pump water up against gravity back into your plumbing system, because most houses are built to where everything runs downhill. It uses gravity. Well, when you're below ground, that don't work. So you got to get up and out.
We don't have those problems out here. There's no basements.
Yeah.
And we also don't have weather that really causes those issues.
You just stopped at weather. We don't have a weather.
We don't have weather. We do have a freeze warning tonight until like
nope.
9
You're just
tomorrow.
On fire. Your beautiful land just lights on fire on its own. It just spontaneously combusts.
We do have the fire season all the time. All the time.
Just listen to what you just said. We have the fire season.
Mm-hmm.
Delvin, did you watch that? There's a Netflix documentary about this town that just lit up in the middle of summer in California. Whole town was erased in like 2 days. It's terrifying. When you see actual footage,
PG&E, it is. It was ridiculous.
It's
it was
terrifying.
So bad. It was so bad.
Holy crap!
It's not like sometimes when you see wildfires like on the news, it's like a brush fire. It's like kind of on the mountain. No, you see this entire town.
The entire town is gone.
That is crazy.
Because
houses,
PG&E,
churches, storefront.
The company didn't come out and fix something that somebody reported about, like it's sparking and messing up, and they never fixed it. And then the whole town went up, and it was a huge
They
issue.
had to evacuate kids in the middle of the day. The bus is driving through the flames and stuff. It's riveting. You got to watch it. It's on Netflix.
It's crazy.
What's the name of it?
In Cali, baby.
I don't remember. Just look. I'm sure it can't be that hard to find.
Yeah.
The wildfire documentary on Netflix. Google that.
Let's get into these questions. So from Adano12, he says, what food or snacks will you get if you know you're going to be spending hours gaming?
The Sweet Heat Chili Doritos with Mike and Ike's.
Now, do you eat those Doritos with chopsticks to keep your
I don't.
controllers pristine?
I'm not that nice. I'm just a monster.
But you love keeping your stuff clean, so I'm
I wipe.
surprised.
I mean, I've got the spray and everything. I clean regularly.
I'm typically
Reese's
looking for
Cups.
like cookies and candy. Yeah.
Reese's Cups and Mountain Dew, actually.
Oh my god.
Surprising.
See, I'm on this
It's not a
crazy ginger beer kick, and I have been for months now. So it's been kind of my
Because
go-to.
it's delicious.
Now. Yeah, it is. It really is good. I do ginger beer with rum, with whiskey. Like it all works. Just pour stuff in the cup.
Yeah. I'm usually looking for like some gummy bears, some sour worms, something like that. Something chewy and not chocolatey, so I don't like mess up my controllers.
I can't do amounts of chocolate either. Like one Reese's cup is like I'm good. I don't have that bone in me. I can't eat, but I can. I'll devour an entire box of Icon X or an entire bag of jelly beans like that.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I can do the chocolate. I just don't like chocolate when I'm gaming. That just doesn't work.
I can eat like a 4-pack of Reese's. The king size ones.
It's like too
That's
rich
only
for
that's
me.
4 Reese's. It's only 4. That's
I always feel like I need to like
it's
brush
called
my
king
teeth or
size.
something.
So good.
It's light work. As far as drink, G Fuel, honestly.
Are we
That's
still
typically
doing
what I
that?
go for. Yeah, they sell them in
You and
cans now.
Kev?
You gotta mix them. It's
I
delicious.
feel like I've been hearing about this for years. Like, can we get over this now?
delicious. I
Is
mean,
it-
it's sugar free, so it works.
I know you
and
guys like it.
Cancel. Can we
It works.
cancel
I
G
like it.
Food after saying? Just end it. It's had its run.
I mean, it's still going strong.
I remember, like, I have no reason to be adverse to it besides the fact that I have friends that are into it. But I remember, like, I just never took to the whole, are you a gamer? Then drink this powder drink and be a gamer. I was like, look at this shit. No, get out of here. Like, that
See,
always
and
just rubbed me raw.
The funny thing was, it wasn't even so much because it was like gamer drink. It was just like, oh, it's a sugar-free energy drink. Like,
I
that
realized
was the
that,
thing that we were
But
like,
you remember,
oh.
like, when they started to, when they really leaned into it, then all their marketing became that. And I was like, oh, this is gross. I don't want to do this.
Oh, I ignore other marketing. I don't even follow them
Yeah.
on anything. So I've never really paid much attention to their marketing. I just look for the
Yeah.
flavors that look like they could
They had
be
those
good.
commercials. They were like, you want to, they had like
They
that
have
grandma.
commercials?
They had that grandma that like got all powered up because she got dual fuel. She was playing Call of Duty or something. I was like, this is ridiculous.
I've never even seen that commercial.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. John 32 says, I feel like PSVG may have answered it before, but wouldn't mind hearing about any games that you have thought was beyond great, but critics scored it really low. I feel like that's any game Devin played.
It's a couple of them. So this is essentially a hidden
Terminator?
gems question.
But what question?
No. Hidden gems.
Hidden
like games
gems,
that you
yeah.
love.
Is it hidden gems? Because honestly, when I
think I
hear
was
this
going-
question, the first thing that screams to my mind is Far Cry 5.
Did critics
feel like
destroy
people
that? They
love
scored.
that
Did
one.
critics score that low?
I don't know if it scored low, but you remember like just the whole, I don't know what they scored. I don't
The
really care
controversy
about
behind it,
accuracy.
because-
Yeah. It's like nobody was
There-
saying
there was
anything
controversy
good
behind
about
it,
it.
yeah.
Everybody just railed it. And I was like, this game is awesome. But everybody
Because
just
people would
hated
talk
it.
about the whole religious undertones and things like
Yeah.
that, and how it's in America. And
I'm sure it scored
they made it a
fine,
political
like
thing.
7s and stuff like that. I'm sure that,
Yeah.
they didn't. But yeah, no, I don't know about just really bad
Something
scores.
that was scored low, that got a really low score that you really enjoyed. And like, I don't understand why
Ooh.
this game was scored so low. The only game that comes to mind for me is the original Destiny. Like, that did not score
Good
great,
call.
but
Good
I
call.
fucking loved it. I don't really look
Wasn't
at
it like a
review
7?
scores very often. I think it was like
Dude, that's the thing.
6.
I don't even know what they score. I got to go look up what some of my things have scored.
I
What did
have
the
one,
medium
and it's
score?
I
7.
think it was like a 6 or a 7.
So that doesn't count.
It was a 7. Some places were giving it like 8s, but it was mostly like 7s.
No More Heroes is mostly
see.
7s.
Let me look up a game. I have a game in mind that I
trying to look around.
absolutely love.
I feel like
I wanna check
Terminator
this.
works for you because I feel like you really like that game.
I did when it got past when you actually had weapons. And it's like, hey, we're not gonna have you like running around, can't kill these Terminators. I did platinum it, so yeah.
What
I
did
guess
what
this
did
game can
Avengers score?
go. That's a good one. That might be the one for me, honestly.
Because yeah, the story in that game, the game was good. the stuff after the game
Even
was not.
Dying Light's Metacritics are in the 70s. Like all my games are in the 70s. Like all my favorite games, they're all in the 70s.
But you gotta realize when people see a 7, they're like, "Oh, it's not good." Like that is the determining factor of not good is if it's a 7. I feel like if it's not an 8, 9, or 10, oh, it's not a good game. Like that's like the mindset that people have.
Okay. Well, then all those games I just read off.
Yeah, Avengers is Metacritic 67, so I guess that falls into it.
Yeah, Avengers works for me too.
Avengers. And there's this other game that I used to like a lot called Alpha Protocol. Have you ever heard of this game?
Yes.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that game thoroughly. All it was essentially like Mass Effect, but instead of being in space, you're a spy. Same type of thing. You can romance players and things like that. You go through the missions to do different things. I loved that game. That game was so much fun with the whole choices and things like that. You could play it your kind of way. You could be like a Jack Bauer type spy, or you could be like an Ethan Hunt type spy. And based on how you play it, you get different like weapons and gadgets and things like that. I used to love that game, but I'm quite sure it didn't score high. It had to be like I want to say in the 5s and 6s.
You know, I liked Mafia 3. That game was pretty railed, pretty hard.
Oh yeah, it was. That's a good one too.
People hated that one.
Chalfie loved that one. Chalfie absolutely loved that one. He got me onto that one. That was a great game.
It was pretty good. Trying to think.
Oh man, there was a game on PS3 that I cannot think of the name of that I really liked, and it did not score well. It had a female lead. Oh God.
Black?
She was black. Yeah.
No, is the game called Black?
No, not black. That's a shooter.
Okay.
The game,
wasn't it?
The game
It's
you're talking
like
about
a
is
third-person game.
I know what you're talking about.
Oh
It's
my God, what is it
damn.
called? I can see it.
Like
I can hear the music in my head.
Because I think
And she's got like amnesia.
And you have to learn the fighting moves and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What is the name of that game?
Oh my God, it's gonna kill me.
I remember it because one of the moves, if you pre-ordered it, they gave you like you could do the
Remember
flash
Me.
kick as a move.
That's the name of it. Remember
yes,
Me.
that's it.
That game was really good. I don't think it scored well. I feel like it just got completely forgotten.
It did. I enjoyed that game. It was pretty good.
I've got my answer. I completely forgot about it. I was late to it. And this is a good answer for this question too, because I never played this game when it came out because it was reviewed so poorly. It was reviewed terribly. That's Deadly Premonition. Deadly Premonition came out, and dude, it's got like 2s. Like it's reviewed terribly. And you know, I wouldn't disagree with anybody if they gave it a 2. Like, yeah. Like I could make a case to give it a 2. But I finally I replayed the director's cut when it released on Switch and got way into it. Loved it. I played it right before I played Control. I watched Twin Peaks after playing it because I played this game. I watched Twin Peaks. Like it kind of got me off in this whole little tangent, and I had a blast playing it. So much so that I pre-ordered Deadly Premonition 2, which is bona fidely awful. It's terrible. It's really, really bad.
I've told you the story about that, right?
Mm-mm.
That
Yeah.
I pre-ordered it around the same time you did, and I was going to play it, and I heard your episode on Nintendo Shack talk about it, and I've never touched it since.
It's and it's never gotten any better. It's never got better. They never released a PC port. Like there's no way even. It's just bad. It literally is just awful. I almost wanted, when the OLED came out, I was like, I wonder if they patched this game. And I went to the Reddit, and like the number one thread was, have they made this game better? And it's like 8,000 responses are like, absolutely not. It's broken as hell. Like, so
all bad.
Yeah,
all
bad. But the first one is good if you can get over the jank and it's weird navigation. Like the story is fun and there's a lot there. So yeah, that's probably my best answer for this.
Nice. Okay, now for the coup de grace here. Skinny Matt says, I have zero interest in Elden Ring. Why should I play it?
Oh,
simple answer, you shouldn't.
I made it the entire day without hearing about this until now.
I have answers. I have answers for this. I guess I'm the one who cares about this game. The reviews for it are very, very high.
Not very high. The best. It's the best game ever made.
Clearly,
it's getting 10s everywhere.
No. Like, isn't it Metacritic's like
who the
top
hell
3 video game or something?
Right.
Well, here's the thing.
I think it's number 2 under Mario Odyssey.
That's the thing. People care. I've been seeing it all day long. People showing the top 10 Metacritic. They're like, see, Elden Ring's best video game ever.
Fucking deal.
I hate aggregate. I hate aggregate. I hate. It's not that I hate aggregate scores. I hate using an aggregate score to determine like a ranking. You know,
Yeah,
like to
I
me, an
agree with you.
aggregate just tells me whether or not like something's generally good or bad. You know, it's just like generally a lot of people think this is positive. That's all I get from an aggregate. And then I hate it when we're like, this is the best game ever because it has the highest aggregate.
Yeah,
I hate that part of it.
no.
I
Yeah,
agree.
because I mean, it can get 10s all day, but if I don't like it, that 10 doesn't mean a single thing. If it's not a game that I'm interested in, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, it's like the opposite reaction to a review bomb, right? People hate review bomb and they're like, oh, I hate, and everybody's just review bombing. And well, it works the other way too, right? Like it's just you're basically just placating the middle. You're basically taking the average and you're extrapolating, you know, like a judgment from it. And I don't think that's good in any entertainment form.
I agree.
Yeah.
If you like Souls games, if you like Bloodborne, and you like open world, go ahead
Like
and
this
play
is it
Elden
for
Ring.
you. Yeah.
And you like monsters and lore and that type of stuff.
Well, if you like Dark Souls,
Yeah, as I say, you can like monsters and lore and not like Dark Souls. I think
yeah.
this is
If
a
you like
hard game to
Gothic-
recommend to people. You know, if somebody was like, hey, I've never played it before, but I saw that it's the highest rated video game ever, should I play it? You
I
know,
would
my
say
answer,
go play
my
a Dark
answer's-
Souls game
yeah.
first.
my answer is going to be no. I'm like, how about you get Demon Souls or Dark Souls 3 or something? Give that a try.
Yeah.
I'm definitely going to try it, so I'll let you guys know what I think of it this week.
Have
You're about
you
to get
played
bodied.
the other Souls games?
You're
Yeah,
about
I
to get
played Bloodborne and I played Demon Souls.
you're about to get bodied,
Did you
Just-
like them?
beat down.
I like Demon Souls a lot.
Did you finish any of them?
Heck no.
Yeah, I didn't
How
think
far
so.
did you get?
I want to say I got to the third quote unquote boss in Demon Souls.
What made you stop playing?
Everything else came out. You,
And you think
know,
you're
so-
gonna have time for Elden Ring with everything that's out and your
I-
PS3 games?
Yeah,
I like
you're right. He's like,
when
I'm
they
playing
said
50,
that
playing 50 Cent and stuff.
when they said that George Railroad Martin had something to do with it. I'm like, I want to see what's going on.
He wrote the
That-
outline. Remember, we
that's
discussed
cool.
this. He pulled an outline from 1987 from under his drawer and said, "Here you go."
I'm quite sure that's what he did. But I'm like, I kind
He
of
may have even done that. They were like, hey, we wrote this. We want to put your name on it. And he was like, give me a bag of money and I'll
Give me a
sign
bag
it.
of money. Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably did that.
Well, I hope you enjoy it and it doesn't lead to you quitting in frustration and tossing your controller across the room.
Don't play it on PC.
Yeah, don't do that.
At least until the patch. I heard there's a patch coming tomorrow. So at least until the patch arrives.
Yeah. All right. 2 more questions and then we're going to get out of here. From Brolin Deeps, he says, do you guys typically pre-order games or do you wait to see the rating they get after they come out? I'm tempted to pre-order Kirby, but I haven't.
Do it.
Historically, I'm not a Kirby fan.
That's your
But
problem.
with this game, I'm very tempted to pre-order.
As you should be. I pre-order a bunch of games.
I pre-order everything.
Yeah.
I
For
typically
multiple
pre-order
reasons.
like a couple days before it comes out.
It's very
only games.
rare that I buy a new game that I haven't pre-ordered, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I'm the same. I since I was a kid, I learned that hey, if you pre-order games, you slowly pay them off. You ain't gotta worry about it when you don't have no money. So that's kind of been a thing I've done as an adult. Like when I have the money, I like, hey, I'll just pre-order this. and
This
don't
is
worry
how I
about
budget
it.
for games. It all comes down to budgeting. It doesn't come down to what I think about the games. It all comes down to budgeting. I have a credit card that I specifically use for games. And what I do is I pre-order all the games that I want, and I basically just make monthly payments and pay off my games.
Oh, that's
So
smart.
I don't look at pre-ordering a game as I'm dropping $60 today. I look at pre-ordering games like, here are all the games I want to play this year, and they're going to cost me this much. So I'm going to pay it off month over month, as opposed to, so like if you're thinking like right now, for like starting the last 2 weeks through the next 2 weeks, I'm going to buy like 6 games. You know, it's $60 each. That's like you're dropping a few $100s like just in a couple weeks there. Where it makes it a lot easier because I'll be paying that off through the summer months, as the releases start to wane and stuff like that. I'm still paying all those off. So for me, it's just how I've managed my gaming budget. It's how I do it, and I enjoy getting my rewards and stuff from doing it as well. And I'm doing as many pre-order bonuses. A big reason why it's a factor as to why I've went all in on PC is I can save a lot on my pre-orders. I got Ghostwire Tokyo for $43. Like every little bit helps. When you buy as many games as I do, if I can save $10 or $15 on a pre-order, that's another game. You do that once or twice, that's a whole other game that I'm buying. So, Kirby, dude, yes, Kirby game looks dope. Respect the Kirby, strongest character in the Nintendo universe, proven by Sakurai. Gotta have it. Stoked for Kirby.
Yeah,
dude, Gawk 3000 Kirby game.
I don't care.
What that mouth do?
Kirby the Throat Goat.
God. Lord have mercy. Y'all are playing a different game, clearly.
I'm pretty sure Nintendo's playing the same game.
Yeah, same game.
Dev, they called it mouthful mode.
They sure did.
Yeah.
They sure did.
You should have seen the look that my wife gave me when I played her the trailer. She was like, really?
Lord have mercy. Yeah, I pre-order games, but I mean, I make a list of the games that I'm getting every year. Like, this is my 2022 games that I'm getting, and I'll just go and I'll pick them up. I usually don't pre-order them until, like, a week before. Once they have a date, and then they have a preload date, then I have a pre-order date, because I just want to get them loaded so I can just play at 9 p.m. when they launch.
Yeah, the other thing for like, again, my budgeting, I rattled off all the games that I've pre-ordered already through April. Those were paid off.
Yeah.
So that's another part of it.
Yep. It's a good system. All right. And our last question that's not a question. Jay says, not a question, but please discuss the importance of wearing comfortable shoes while playing VR.
He asked this question for me, I think. I got teased before at one point, I think, on a podcast. I want to say with Josh and Lucas, but maybe I'm wrong. But I used to make the point of I used to always have to put on shoes when I played VR. It was a big part of the PSVR. I was like, man, I got to drag it out. I got to hook it up. I got to plug in the cables. I got to put on shoes. And people picked up and they're like, put on shoes? Why do you got to put on shoes? Like, there were folks that thought that was weird. My basement is cement floor. And walking around on cement floor with bare feet makes my feet hurt.
Makes sense.
So I couldn't play VR for very long without shoes. So a big part of me for comfort for playing VR, especially when I was playing like Saints and Sinners or Moss or something that I was going to be playing for more than 25 minutes, I needed shoes. I had to put on comfortable shoes. So that was a big part of my VR process. So it's important. It's very important.
You gotta have the comfortable shoes. I mean, especially if you're gonna be ducking and dodging and moving around.
Standing.
You gotta have the appropriate footwear.
You wouldn't go work out with no shoes. You don't want to stub a toe. Yeah.
You ever stubbed a pinky toe? You ever stepped on a Lego?
Dude,
not cool.
Do your guys' wives act like they were hit by a car and they stubbed their toe, or is it just mine?
Absolutely, they do.
Dude, my wife stubs her toe, and it is the most dramatic shit I've ever seen. Like, she falls down, cries, tears. I'm like, would you get the hell up? Like, I don't mean to be, I don't mean to be cruel and not sympathetic, but like, you stubbed your toe. Like, yeah. Are you not over? You're an adult, for Christ's sakes. You can't be doing this.
My wife doesn't deal with pain very well, so she'll get very silent. She'll be very upset that she's in pain.
I'll tell her
it's very dramatic, but it's like,
I watched you give birth. You get the hell up.
You're better than this. You have pushed children out. You are okay.
I think you're fine. Okay.
Oh man. All right, well, that's going to do it for this episode of PSVG. Please feel free to check us out over on the Twitters at PSVG. Subscribe on the YouTubes and check us out on our Discord. Come hang out and tag Devin so he actually shows up. Like, that's what you should do. If you come to our Discord, just everything you say, just make sure you at big meaty meat slapping men or whatever his ridiculous
Yeah,
handle
do
is
that
there.
one. Do that one because damn sure won't get me.
That's a different Discord, Devin.
What is your stupid name? It's something like that. All right. But just find him and tag him in anything you post just to harass him and bring him out. All right. But other than that, anything else you guys have to say?
No?
Play
Great.
Cyberpunk.
You should play
Yeah,
something.
that's
It's a
what I
good
would-
game now.
Wake the
It's a good
fuck
game
up,
now.
Samurai.
Play
Patch
some
1.5.
video games.
Fucking nonsense.
We're starting a new trend, Dev.
No.
I like it.
No.
1.5,
God
baby.
damn it.
I'm
I
on
hate
ball
you
with
all.
this.
I hate you all. Elaine, come back. Come
I
back.
hope she comes back and says she's been playing the 1.5 patch.
Oh,
That would be the most Elaine shit ever. She would never do it because it would be against Dev, and she won't go
Yeah.
there. But it would be
Love
the
you,
most. It would be the coolest shit ever.
yeah. And on that note, play some video games.